And salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Joining me today, actually flying solo on that table over there today, Mr. Robert Meyer-Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, I'm a little nervous. You know, I don't fly solo very often anymore. And
you got the cockpit all to yourself.
I know. I feel so alone.
Now, just so you guys know, Chris Carr will no longer be on the show on Thursdays. She's taken Thursdays off. So Erin Cummings was going to come in today, but something came up with her last second, you know, busy working actress and all that kind of stuff. So she couldn't be here today. So it's just going to be Rob and I flying, at least at the main table. Still joining us today, sitting back there, joining you guys in the live chat. He's Ray Ora. Ray,
hey, what's up? Good morning.
And sitting right beside him, of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Voico, who hasn't seen She-Hulk.
I have not. I'm gonna. As I'm pulling stills for our after show, I will watch it. That's the lot of life I get.
See, I always feel bad when Jonathan doesn't watch these shows. He's got to produce and run the after shows for shows he hasn't watched yet. So I always feel bad about that. And most importantly, guys, you guys are here. So thank you so much for being here, guys, and making the show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you got a live comment or question you want us to read and address on the show, number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats, and that's when you guys can start firing in your comments and questions, and we will read those off in the second half of the show. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. Want to remind you guys that if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, I don't know, maybe you're going for a jog or you're on the commuter train, whatever, good news, there is an audio-only version of our show simply called the John Campea Show Podcast. Look at those 5 stars. Just go and find it on your favorite podcasting app of choice. Hit subscribe, and that show will be there when you need it. All right. Also, one other thing. I think we have a new name for the show.
We do?
At least it's come down to the final 2. I think we narrowed it down. I mentioned to you what the final 2 were, right? So I just
thought these were speculative so far.
I think this is the final 2. We'll talk more about it after the show. So, you know, we've been talking for months that we were going to rename the network and the show. And I think we've narrowed it down to the final 2. And I think maybe by the end of the day, we might actually have, again, we'll talk about it, but I think by the end of the day, we'll actually have a new name, and we'll announce that at some time in the near future.
Did the Ray Ora Power Hour stay in the running?
Spoilers, Rob, spoilers. All right, anyway, with that all said, guys, let's get into a couple of off the tops. And one of those is this. You know, it is kind of well known, especially amongst fandom of Quentin Tarantino, that Quentin Tarantino is a massive fan of Michelle Yeoh. And who wouldn't be? Michelle Yeoh is incredible. Not only is she a world-class actress, she is one of the, I'll go so far as to say, she's the best female action star of all time. She's amazing, and whatever she appears in, it heightens it.
She's a Bond girl, dude.
And she's also a Bond girl. She was amazing just this year. She was amazing in Shang-Chi. And then she starred in my favorite film of the year, Everything Everywhere All at Once, in which I think she's going to get, we still got some movies to see, but right now I'm guessing she's going to get a Best Actress nomination for that. So over the years, knowing that Michelle Yeoh is such a favorite of Quentin Tarantino's, knowing that Quentin Tarantino was partially inspired to do Kill Bill because of her work in Police Story 3, a lot of people have asked over the years, well, why wasn't Michelle Yeoh in Kill Bill? Like, why didn't you put her in it? Now, she was recently being interviewed, and somebody asked her that exact question. And they said, they brought up, like, why didn't Tarantino put you in Kill Bill? To which Michelle Yeoh said the following. She said this: I asked Quentin the same question, Yeoh said in her Town and Country cover interview via Entertainment Weekly. He's very smart, and he said this: who would believe that Uma Thurman could kick your ass? What a perfect answer. And you know what? When I read that, I immediately thought, and that wasn't just Tarantino saying something to be nice. Like that is how Tarantino's brain works, right? Like he so reveres Michelle Yeoh that his first thought was, and I'm sure he would have loved to put her in that movie, but his first thought was, nobody who knows anything about cinema is going to believe for 1 second that Uma Thurman, or anybody for that matter, is just going to straight up come on in and kick Michelle Yeoh's ass. It was a great answer. You heard about this. What did you think?
I love this answer so much because when you start to think about it, of course, he was absolutely right. Because you'd have to put her in a compromising position. Not only would no one believe it, as a director, Quentin Tarantino would never probably put her in a position where she would lose.
Yeah.
Like unless it was she would lose and then come back and kick someone's ass and win in the end.
Classic kung fu cinema.
You couldn't do it. And I can totally see that. I believe that 100%.
You know what's interesting? We were talking about that, and fact checker Jonathan brought something up before the show, and he said, that's good, Quentin, but people are going to believe that Brad Pitt could kick Bruce Lee's ass. Okay, yes, but that wasn't Bruce Lee in the movie with him, like, right? That wasn't actually Bruce Lee. That was Brad Pitt, the actor, but as a different character.
And it was a fairy tale anyway.
It was a fairy tale. The movie's called Once Upon a Time. But I'll tell you what, though, when I read that Quentin Tarantino quote about who's going to believe that Uma Thurman or anybody is going to kick your ass, I instantly my mind went to Fast Five. Because as much as I love Fast Five, and I love Fast Five.
I do too.
But even coming right out of the theater, I'm like, who's going to believe Vin Diesel could beat The Rock? Or who would believe that even Dominic Toretto, a slightly jacked up car mechanic, is going to beat Agent Hobbs, a lifelong government operative? That's just, I love that movie. I love Vin. I love The Rock, but that was the first thing my mind went to. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about that Quentin Tarantino comment saying, yeah, I could put you, Michelle Yeoh, in this movie because no one's going to believe that our lead hero was going to be able to kick your ass? I actually kind of love it. I love it that too. He said that. How do you guys feel about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's do one more off the top here today, shall we? And that is this. This is actually very big, but I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about this, but this is huge. So we all know that my most anticipated film or TV series, I should say, the last 4 or 5 years, like it's been my number one most anticipated thing coming to television since they first announced this years and years and years and years ago, which is the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power series. I cannot wait for this damn thing to start. But then again, I couldn't wait for Boba Fett to start. So let's see how that all turns out. But still, it is my most anticipated show. A lot of buzz going on about it. A lot of people talking about it. But what some people do realize is that in Amazon acquiring the rights to do Lord of the Rings, they really only required partial fragmented rights that will allow them to do certain things. And hence we have the show the way it's going to be. The bulk of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit's rights have maintained with their main company, which is, I believe, the Saul.
Saul Zaentz is the guy who he's the motion picture producer who bought the rights to Lord of the Rings from the first. He made the animated film.
So his Middle Earth Enterprises is still like the owner of the majority of those core kind of rights, right? Not anymore. A report has come out that a video game company, I believe a Swiss or Swedish video game company, a Swedish video game company called the Embracer Group, has purchased all the IP rights to Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and all that kind of stuff for $750 million. $750 million. Now, the first question I saw a lot of people ask is, well, how does this affect the upcoming show? It doesn't affect it at all. Although this new company will have financial interests in it, it doesn't actually affect the new show at all. So that's a separate thing. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit nervous about a video game company owning the rights to this IP. Now, I'm not saying this. I'm not running around saying the sky is falling. They're going to do I saw one commenter online say, what are they going to do now? Merry and Pip living in Hobbiton in an Odd Couple kind of comedy series or whatever? Well, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, did they get the rights to make video games, or did they acquire the rights to do all kinds of entertainment?
They own it. They bought it. The rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and that's up. It now all belongs to them. It no longer belongs to Middle Earth Enterprises. They sold
And it's
all
a
the
video
rights.
game company?
But I
It's a
mean,
video game company.
but the thing is, okay, here's the thing. But they didn't buy the rights from the Tolkien estate, so they don't own the underlying.
Here's what's written in Deadline, because these are all great questions you're raising. Right.
Right.
Here's what's written in Deadline. Swedish video game company Embracer Group has acquired. Let me just bring this up a little more. Has acquired Middle Earth Enterprises, a division of the
Zantz company.
Zantz Company, which owns the intellectual property catalog and worldwide rights to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Hobbit, by J.R.R. Tolkien. The financial terms of the acquisition were not disclosed, but it later got revealed that it was around the $750 million mark. But the deal means Embracer Group will pick up the motion picture, video game, board game, merchandising, theme parks, and stage production rights relating to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit franchises, as well as matching rights in other Middle-earth related literary works authored by the Tolkien estate and HarperCollins, which have yet to be explored. So
Wow. So they also own the Silmarillion. They own the rights that
own the
Amazon
rights.
didn't get.
yes,
So they literally own all the rights to produce anything. So I would imagine the Tolkien estate still has the underlying rights to the literature, but they have the rights to make anything they want
Yeah,
in
so-
any entertainment medium.
here's how you can illustrate it. So Rob, let's say
Wow.
you wrote Pickle My Foot, all right? And
That's being disputed.
Yeah.
it's being disputed. So Rob wrote the literary masterpiece, 24-volume
It's
masterpiece of the Pickle My Foot epic adventures, right? Okay, so that also belongs to you, but you have sold to me the movie rights, TV rights, board game rights, theme park rights. So like the books and all that is still yours.
Yeah.
But the only person in the world who has the rights to do anything with it
Is you.
is this guy.
Yeah, no,
right? And that's what this is. This is huge.
That's unbelievable. Because I mean they even said stage rights.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
Theme
that
parks.
the Lord of the Rings musical will be coming down the pike soon.
Oh my God.
Theme parks.
Oh no, it's a Balrog.
A sandbox video game. I mean, they're going to do. That's fascinating to me. I mean, that's amazing that they literally bought the rights to everything.
Yeah.
Some people in the chat are pointing out that they're not specifically maybe a video game company. They just been buying a bunch of video game companies lately.
Oh,
Well, like I said, Deadline refers to them as a Swedish video game company, the Embracer Group, but they have subsidiary companies that also do other things.
But I will go back and say some of those old Lord of the Rings games that were on PS2, like the Two Towers that followed the movies. I remember
Right.
me and Ann playing them. One of the games, they actually had you play that part where you're in that tomb where all of them are in, and I think that it was like
Balin's
either
tomb.
2 players, 3 players, and we played that
the Mines
thing.
of Moria?
That yeah, where we had to you had to hold the
door and the
door,
cave troll
Yeah.
comes
and
in.
that whole thing actually plays out in the game where all the trolls start running in. I was playing Legolas, and she would always play Gimli, I think, and that game was fire, man. I love it. Even if it followed like a straight a linear path, like you couldn't break off.
right.
I love those games. So if they are going to do a video game, I would love it because I think we need a new Lord of the Rings game. It's based on the movies, not
There's been
Shadow
a
of Mordor.
huge. There's been a huge couple of games, and everybody in the live chat, chime in here. What was the name of this? Lord of the Rings something Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor.
there's
That's
two
what
of
it
them.
was, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That game was huge with
It was
a lot
good,
of
too.
people. So there's the games, but I've read some commenters saying like, okay, so now that they got the rights to this, so they're going to start running out and doing Gandalf prequels and Strider prequels and the adventures of Mary. I don't
Well,
know. I don't know.
I mean,
it could be good. It could be bad. I'm not sure how to feel about it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the fandom wants and is a fealty to Tolkien's work. As long as
A
it's
segment of fandom.
well, so yeah, but I think that's something that is look, these people have the rights to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They
Now
can do whatever they want.
whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. But I think that
Sorry, no, go ahead.
well, no, and I think that's but if you're a fan of something, you want, obviously one of the things I love adaptation. Like I think the Sandman adaptation is phenomenal. I've gone back into and I've been reading the comics because the first season of Sandman's the first 16 issues of the comic. It's amazing what they've been able to do. And some people complain like, well, Rob, John Constantine isn't in the show. And I'm like, well, look, I get the idea that they're disassociating themselves from their direct connection to DC, which is smart. But they've added, Joanna Constantine that was created for the series. They've just added her like in multiple, maybe she's immortal. I don't have a problem with that. That's what adaptation is. But when you go back and you look at how close it actually is to the comics, even the dialogue, to the point where it's not like, I was amazed. So Lord of the Rings, I think what people want is that kind of authenticity. I don't think anybody would want to see like a sitcom with Gandalf and the Astari hanging out in a hobbit hole.
But it's hard to say though, right? Because like, I would go so far as to say, we were talking about that one interview that Jackson did once, where it's like probably 80% of the audience who went to go see his movies had never read the books.
Right. That's right.
Right. So anyway, Ray,
I was gonna say one more thing. This company, if any of them are like watching for some reason, if you release a game, don't release one of those games where you control groups of like people. I have never got into those games. You're
like
into
the Final Fantasy kind of games?
Like StarCraft,
like
where you
real-time
control,
strategy games?
Yeah.
Those are my favorite kind of games.
Oh my God, why do you release those games?
I definitely want a Warcraft kind of Lord of the Rings
No,
game.
man.
I definitely want one of those.
As soon as they announce that, you don't exist to me no more.
Anyway, guys, we spent a lot of time on this, but the question is for you. What do you think about this? A Swedish video game company has now owns Lord of the Rings. What are they going to do with it? I don't know. Hey, listen, maybe this could be terrible, horrible news, but maybe it could turn and be something
Maybe
really
they'll
great.
buy Star Trek next.
Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, we're going to move now into our main topics here today. But before we do, we're going to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's show, our friends over at Babbel. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this episode, Babbel. Now, as an Italian, did you guys know my real name is Giovanni? Anyway, as an Italian that doesn't actually speak a lot of Italian, I've always wanted to learn better Italian so I could converse with my Italian relatives. And that's where Babbel is a godsend. And for you guys, for all your summer travels, or whether you're going abroad or staying domestic and want to immerse yourself in the culture, now is the perfect time to start Babbel. Babbel is the language learning app that sold more than 10 million subscriptions. Thanks to Babbel's addictively fun and easy bite-sized language lessons, there's still time to learn a new language before you reach your destination. With Babbel, you only need 10 minutes to complete a lesson, so you can start having real-life conversations in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Now, other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 150 language experts. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German, and others. Right now, you can save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/Campea. That's babbel.com/Campea for up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. And thank you to our friends at Babbel for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, we're going to now move into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics on the show? Well, that's simple. You guys come up with them. Whenever you guys come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, let's get into main topic number one. Rob, what is our first main topic today?
Well, John, our first main topic comes from Jesse Wood. I was wondering if you saw the Variety article about Jonah Hill stating he won't be appearing for interviews or promoting his own movies to improve his mental health. Do you think this can affect him getting roles if he won't be there to promote the movies he's starring in? I thought actors had to publicly promote their films, but I could be wrong. How do you think this could affect what parts he's offered? And do you think studios will think twice about hiring him?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Jesse Wood. Listen, Jonah Hill is really one of the more fascinating Hollywood stories. Because, listen, my first exposure to Jonah Hill was my all-time favorite comedy, 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he shows up in the We Sell Your Stuff on eBay store, and he says, I want to buy these boots, these giant glass boots with goldfish in them. And he's this really heavy, awkward looking dude. And then he continued to get some like comedic roles and some comedies, like smaller bit roles. But then he started to get noticed more, and he got bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point that the dude, I believe, has 2 Academy Award nominations. Like, he's become like a really sought out, and now he directs, he produces, he's just been a guy who just got his start in the business in one kind of way and has just evolved. It's really an incredible story what he's been able to do. I've met Jonah Hill, and it's just amazing what he has been able to do. Now, that said, we have talked a lot on the show in years past about how sometimes I'll rail on some performers who don't do their jobs and get out and promote the movies they've been in. You get paid a lot of money to be in a movie. You are expected to go out there and promote that movie. It's just common sense. You should. And it's often in the contracts. Not often. It's always in the contracts. You got to do that. But Jonah Hill says he's not going to be doing that anymore, at least for the foreseeable future. And I actually have no problem with it, and I'll explain why in a second. Here's what's going on. This comes just from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. By the way, look at Jonah Hill these days. Wrote the following. Through this journey of self-discovery, within the film, he's talking about a documentary that he's doing. It's a lot about his therapist and him. Of self-discovery with the film, I have come to the understanding that I have spent nearly 20 years experiencing anxiety attacks, which are exasperated by media appearances and public-facing events. Hill wrote about debuting the documentary Sputs at upcoming fall film festivals. The movie features Hill and his therapist openly discussing his mental health issues. You won't see me out there promoting this film or any of my upcoming films while I take this important step to protect myself, Hill continued. If I made myself sicker by going out there and promoting it, I wouldn't be acting true to myself or to the film. That, again, comes to us from writing. Now, I've mentioned that I have met Jonah Hill on a couple of occasions. And I can tell you he is very uncomfortable in press situations. To the point, I remember the first time I met him, it was for 22 Jump Street, the second 21 Jump Street movie. And I remember, and I couldn't tell if he was just a dick or if he was just really uncomfortable. And then when I was at another press event, I talked to some people who've known him and have worked with them, and everybody really likes him. And then I met him at another press event, and again, it was like he was very uncomfortable. You could just tell he was. So what do I think about him saying he's not going to promote his films? I have no problem with that for 2 reasons. Number one, if you make sure the films that you're going to get involved with know in advance, it's like, hey, if you want to hire me, that's great. But as long as forthright with them and they know in advance, I won't be doing press tours for it, and I won't be doing promotion for the film. If then the producers of the film and the studios behind the film are okay with that, then that's on them. As long as he is forthright and says in advance, before we sign this contract, you got to know I won't be doing promotion. And if you're good with that, great. So yeah, then the onus is, listen, if I'm a producer making a movie, that's on me now. If I make the decision to put him in the movie, then I'm making that decision knowing he's not promoting it. And as long as we're on the same page, there's no problem. I also applaud him for taking care of himself because, like I said, I have seen it. Listen, there was comedians make jokes about it, but there were studies done where, like, just how afraid people are of doing public speaking. And there's
Clearly, you and I are among them.
But I'm actually more comfortable in front of, like, I'm more comfortable on the stage at Hall H talking to 6,000 people than I am to talking to 2 or 3 people in a small group. It's weird. But comedians make this joke, is that if there's a funeral, more people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. That people were more afraid of public speaking than death. So, I mean, and when I've seen Jonah Hill, like, physically uncomfortable, and it, you know what? If you recognize that and you know this is not good for me, then good for you for taking those steps to say, this is not something I should do. And if your potential employers are cool with it, then everything's kosher. Now, they ask the question, will this affect his ability to land some roles? I'm sure it will. I'm sure there will be some roles where people are going to go, we really need somebody who's going to get out there and stomp and promote the film. Sure. But I also believe a lot of other people are like, hey, you're a 2-time Academy Award nominated actor. I think just us being able to put your name on the poster is going to be fine or whatever. So will it have an effect? Yes. Will it have a huge impact? I don't think so. I don't know, Rob, you see all this. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Jonah Hill's. I think if you watch his performance in Moneyball or his performance in Wolf of Wall Street, you realize this is a world-class actor. I think.
What's the one he did with Miles Teller where they were arms dealers?
Oh yeah, War Dogs. Was it War Dogs?
Yeah, I think it was War Dogs. He's so good
he's
in
a
that.
fantastic performer. He's actually quite a good director. He's directing TV now and he's directing movies. I'll tell you, I can point to something specific. I think he finally just. So there's many a YouTube clip where he's been out doing press for movies, and people bring up his weight, whether he lost weight, whether he gained weight, whatever. They talk about his weight, and that clearly bothers him.
Yeah.
And it's like, first of all, you'd think in our society where everyone is conscious of how everyone else feels, you use proper pronouns, don't say this, what, and yet it's okay to ask somebody, a performer, about their weight.
Constantly.
And like that's somehow okay, and the thing is, what does that have to do with your performance? Are you asking, well, I mean, when Robert De Niro gained a bunch of weight to play Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull 40 years ago or 42 years ago, I can understand why that was a big deal. But now with Jonah Hill, I mean, I think I first saw him in Superbad. That was the first movie I think that I saw that I love. I love that comedy. But I'm sure he just got fed up and like, what? It's one person too many asked about his weight, and he was probably like, what the F does that have to do with my performance or this movie? And I think he just got sick of it. He's like, look, and no wonder you think that guy growing up didn't have anxiety about the way he looked, and then being a movie star and looking at his own performance. No one knows more than a person how they feel about themselves. And when people are constantly bringing up the one thing that you probably thought more about than anything else about your appearance, and finally you just got to get to a point and be like, man, you know what? I'm just going to do my work and let my work speak for itself.
Yeah, right.
He looks good in that photo.
Why are you pointing at Jonathan?
I mean, like Jonah Hill. I mean,
Hey.
Jonathan always looks good. Look, he's a handsome devil.
I clean up well.
Jonah Hill. I love everything he's in. He makes me laugh. I thought he was the best part of Don't Look Up, which I like that movie.
He was really good in that.
I mean, you just got to leave the brother alone. If he has problems, then just enjoy what he gives us. But he does look good when he's walking in that photo. I should start trying to get on that diet. I can finally touch my first woman.
I think he
probably
surfs my first woman.
Maybe you should go on a USO tour.
He surfs daily. He's massively into. He loves skateboarding. Anyway, listen. At the end of the day, I applaud the guy for doing what's good for him. As long as he's forthright with whoever his potential employers would be, no problem. So yeah, I think it's all good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about that? Do you think maybe you could do the types of stuff that some of these actors have to do, constantly being, to do 50 interviews in a day, being put under a microscope, all that kind of stuff? The pressures of it are kind of big. The rewards are big, but it doesn't take away from the pressures of it. How do you guys feel about that? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Rob, what's our second main topic today?
Well, Kyle writes in and says, hey, y'all. So the axe strikes again. I just saw an article on Wednesday stating that HBO Max is getting ready to purge 40 pieces of content, 20 of its Max originals. Why would WB toss Max originals that's already completed into the trash? And what other project could be next on the chopping block?
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, a whole bunch of more content is being removed from HBO Max. A bunch of it HBO Max original. Some of it is acquired licensed content and stuff like that. And listen, for a lot of people who don't know the inside of the business and how this all stuff works, it's a very reasonable question. Well, it's yours.
Right.
Why not just leave it there? What's the point? It's a completely rational question. What's the point of taking it and throwing it away? Well, it looks like there actually is a reason they're doing this. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety. Right now, what's with that Grover picture?
Man, that's me walking into work every day.
Except it's a coffee in your hand instead of a mic. This comes from Variety writes this. As we work towards bringing our content catalogs together under one platform, we will be making changes to the content offering available on both HBO Max and Discovery Plus. HBO Max's statement reads, that will include the removal of some content from both platforms. Taking off the titles. Now, this is the key part that Variety puts in here. Taking off the titles from streaming would also help Warner Brothers Discovery cut costs by removing lesser watched programs to save money on residuals. An exact date or time when the titles will be taken off has not yet been announced. All right, so the basic underlying premise here is this. There is stuff they have on their service that nobody watches, but they still have to pay money in residual fees just for it being there. So one, it's a piece of content that's not making us any money, but two, it's a piece of content that is costing us money. And therefore they went, okay, we're going to remove it. Now, the other interesting thing about this is besides the fact that is going to stop them having to pay residuals on content that no longer sits on their streaming service, it opens up the possibilities that they can license some of this content out to other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not saying that they're going to do that, but it does open up the option that, hey, there may be other platforms that are starving for more content. This gives them something. What's interesting to me, though, Rob, is I went into the article and I looked at all the shows getting cut. I'm not going to lie, not one bit of exaggeration. I haven't heard of a single one of these things. Haven't heard of any of them. So things like The 12 Dates of Christmas, Aquaman, King of Atlantis. I mean, obviously I've heard of Aquaman. I've not heard of this. Close Enough, Ellen's Next Great Designer, Esme and Roy, The Fungies, Generation Hustle, Infinity Train, not to be confused with Infinity War. I don't know if that's a, what's the name of the studio again?
Asylum.
I don't know if that's an Asylum thing or not.
Or a porn movie.
No, it's an animated series, and I actually do want to watch it.
You know
I want
that
to check
one?
it out.
You better.
Yeah, I'm
hurry.
not.
Yeah, we got
Tig
3
and
days.
Steak, The Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs, which I'm
Nice.
assuming has something to do with the Flintstones, but I've never heard of it. Dodo, Elliot from Earth, Mighty Magi Swords, OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. And I'm not dissing on any of these. I'm saying I've never heard of these. So Warner Brothers is basically saying, look, these are, what was the quote in there again? Where is it? Helps serve cut costs for moving. Okay, these are lesser watched programs. That's a nice way of saying nobody watches this. It's not generating them any income. It's costing us money to pay residuals just for it existing on the platform. We got to get rid of stuff. And I think HBO, what Warner Brothers wants to do with HBO is make it so, listen, we're not going to become Netflix, where 90% of the stuff that's living on Netflix is stuff most people are never going to click on and watch. We want to have a more premium feel. So while at first I read that too and think, well, that's kind of a weird thing to do, but it actually, from a business point of view, it really does make sense. I don't know, Rob, you heard about this. What's your perspective on it?
Okay, I think what HBO Max is doing, or what Warner Brothers and Discovery are doing, is fine. It's a monetary decision. Like you said, I think they want to keep it a premium service, not fill it up with stuff that they want people to watch everything. That makes complete sense to me. What I think this bodes, I think it's ominous for the future of cinema, because most of the movies that are made, I always say pop culture has a half-life of 20 years. And go beyond 20 years. How many people are watching movies? I mean, you watch the big movies. E.T. gets re-released in a theater 40 years later. Poltergeist is getting a 4K release. You know, famous movies are.
But that's one out of every 30 or 40.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so our rich cinema history, because of streaming, you can see how many people are watching these movies. Well, as the years go by, people know these films less and less and less, so they're not going to watch them. You know, and unless there's a concerted effort to protect our cinematic legacy and make sure that there's a place where people go. That's why physical media, that's why I buy physical media, so stuff doesn't go away. Like Edge of Tomorrow, the only way we could see it on Movie Club is if you paid for it, because it's not on a streaming service. I mean, I have 3 different versions on disc, but I would hope that streaming does not become the litmus test for how all of our rich cinematic legacy is judged. Because HBO Max is like, no one's watching Lawrence of Arabia anymore. So we're going to take it off. And then suddenly it's not available anywhere because that's a movie from the early 60s. And I would hope that movies are preserved. I mean, in the streaming era, it shouldn't be the end-all be-all of our cinematic legacy. Now, John, there's been a lot of garbage that's been made for the last 100 years, and maybe some of it doesn't deserve to be seen again, but at least it should be preserved somewhere.
See, I agree with what you're saying. the two things I would want to keep in mind about it, though, are this. Number one, we forget that while the movie industry has been around for well over a century, this streaming world, everybody's still figuring it out.
Yes.
And so like things like contracts, distribution contracts are going to have to evolve where it's like, okay, if you're a streamer and you have our movie on, you don't have to keep paying us for it in existence residuals just for it being there after 15 or 20 years. There's got to be a way that a streamer can have something on their platform that's not costing them money if people don't watch it. The second thing I would say is, like Edge of Tomorrow, where it becomes financially viable. Let's say Lawrence of Arabia gets, I don't even know if it's on a streaming service right now, but as long as
It's on my shelf in 4K at home,
there
though.
it is. But I mean, as long as there's a way that I can still get online and rent it if I
Right.
wanted to watch it,
Sure.
as long as it's still there. So I think this points to the need that, number one, it's a reminder to us that this is still an evolving landscape. And we're probably still got, I think they're still 5 to 10 years away from everybody really figuring it out. And then number two, as long as the availability is still there, even if it's not on one of our free streaming services.
Yeah, I mean, look, Netflix paid for 1 year. They
Yeah.
licensed Friends for $100 million.
$100 million.
I mean, and that's an old show. So it shows that it shows, or it illustrates that certain things are valuable even as the years go by. And I think the argument could be made, well, Rob, if no one's watching these movies, do they still have value? Why keep them at all? Why preserve the negative? Why do we have them in our vaults? Why are we paying to store them? And I get that. I understand that. But, that's a very sort of American way of thinking. Yeah, it's old. Let's get rid of it and build
As
something
long
new.
as there's a way that if you wanted to pay for it, you could still watch it.
Yeah, as long as it's preserved somewhere.
But here's the other thing that the Variety article didn't mention that I still think is worth bringing up. Every streaming service, from Netflix to HBO, whatever, every month, like there are literal YouTube channels that are just built on what is coming to Netflix this month and what is leaving Netflix this month.
Yeah.
What is coming to the big streamers this month and what is leaving. It's still a revolving door with a lot of services. So HBO Max has always had content come and go. Netflix always has content coming and going. It's just that some of the reasons for it are changing a little bit.
Yes.
And it's going to be really interesting to see how this evolves. For now, what do you think about this move? I'm not going to lie. I've never watched or heard of any of the things that were on the list that were gone. What do you think about the rationale? Could this be a sign of good things to come? Could it be something that if they're not careful of, like Rob's pointing out, of something negative if we don't keep our eyes on it? How do you guys feel about it? Jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? Rob, what is our third main topic today?
It's so funny when you say that.
Instead of Chris.
Warren writes in and says, I've heard you guys talk in the last couple of days about the possibility of Deadpool having a cameo in She-Hulk. So I thought you'd enjoy hearing that the star of the show, good Canadian kid, Tatiana Maslany, explained how such a cameo or crossover would work. Do you think this was just done in fun, or could she actually be hinting at the Canadian merc showing up in the show?
Okay, this is interesting. So if for you guys who watch the show on a regular basis, you know that the last couple of days, a lot of people brought up the idea of, because the first reactions to the first 4 episodes came out and said, a lot of cameos. So you got a lot of people wondering, wouldn't Deadpool be the most obvious one to do? The comedic side of it, the fourth wall breaking. I mean, all that kind of stuff. It just seems like a natural match for that. Now, I've said that I don't believe that will happen. I don't know that it's not going to happen, but I don't believe it's going to happen because Deadpool is a billion-dollar franchise character. Do you really introduce the billion-dollar franchise character on a Disney Plus show? I have high doubts that they do. But that being said, Tatiana Maslany was being interviewed, and somebody brought up with her the idea of, what about Deadpool crossing paths with She-Hulk in a She-Hulk thing? And Tatiana Maslany had a great response to it. She said this. This comes to us to CBR. Well, the picture's great pics. While it will be some time before the Merc with a Mouth arrives in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, She-Hulk attorney-at-law star Tatiana Maslany shared an idea regarding a crossover with Deadpool. During an interview with Kevin McCarthy, Maslany was asked if she could imagine both characters taking or talking to the audience in a scene. This is what she said. Yeah, here's like a very meta thing, Maslany answered. Deadpool is from Regina, Saskatchewan. I lived for 7 years right beside Regina in a town called Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. But anyway, Deadpool is from Regina, Saskatchewan, right? Isn't he? Which is where I'm from, Tatiana Maslany says. So, like, this was a meant-to-be situation. I think we should both be in Regina, but I'm Tat in Regina, and Deadpool is Deadpool. But then it's Ryan Reynolds, and it's She-Hulk, and we get really freaky with it. So, number one, I honestly thought she was from this town in this small town called Sudbury in Northern Ontario. I didn't realize she was from Regina, which is totally cool. Great little town, Regina, Saskatchewan. Has a population of like 150,000 people.
There's a ring to it.
It might be bigger. It's been a while since I've been there. But the good question is she just, hey, fan speculating like everybody else? Or is she actually slipping a little bit, like not necessarily that they're going to be in Regina, but is she actually kind of winking at the audience saying, maybe Deadpool will be there? Look.
What's the name of that place again?
Regina.
Has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. I knew somebody was going to say something like that.
Yeah, there is a ring to it.
Hey, listen, in the province that Regina's in,
Yeah.
there are a couple.
Saying that. Just say live from Regina every day.
It's called Saskatchewan. There is literally a town called Elbow. There's a town called Moose Jaw.
Ooh.
There's a town called Dildo.
Man,
Come on.
you guys are really weird.
Dead serious?
So there could be dildos in Regina.
And moose knuckles. I mean, moose bones. Moose something.
Roast beef sandwich city?
I mean, people from there. You can move from there to there.
Something like that. But at any rate, yeah, so for some very weird names in Saskatchewan, but there it is. Rob, listen, we talked on the show about it. We talked on our She-Hulk pregame show.
Right.
But seeing Tatiana like talking about this, first of all, what do you think about her comments? And then number two, does this do anything to sway your thoughts on whether or not we could see Deadpool pop up in a She-Hulk?
Well, I mean, look, we always speculate things that would be cool. Like, wouldn't it be cool if? And the answer usually is yes, it would be. Now, could you make that happen? Like you've pointed out, this Deadpool's $1 billion franchise.
Yeah.
But we've already seen the movies. So it's as if they were Disney. Deadpool already exists. It's not like this would be the first time we've ever seen him.
Right.
And the way Ryan Reynolds was up for marketing Deadpool, whether it was on billboards or he's even done, he was that scene with Korg, that Deadpool was in.
So good.
It was so good.
That was so great.
So he's done, I mean, that was really his first appearance in the MCU. When he was with
commercial, actually.
Yeah.
It kind of was really.
So he's there. He's there. So it would not surprise me. Good Canadian kid talks to another Canadian kid. Yo, I mean, Campea's got to deal with Mint Mobile. Why don't you come over here and be in my TV show? I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I think I think, look, they're so aware now of the fans and what's going on. I mean, I'm sure she was briefed. I mean, she comes from Orphan Black, so she's been to Comic-Con. She knows what fans are like. And she's obviously a smart woman and is having fun with it. So I think maybe.
I'm still going to set the over-under at 10%.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't see the probability, even with all the Tatiana stuff and what she's saying, and it's great what she's saying, I still don't put it any higher than 10%.
I will say this, though, having now, and we'll talk about this later, but having seen the first episode, I also don't think that they're going to do something that would, this is going to sound weird, but compromise the integrity of what they are building. I mean, with the comedy and the fourth wall breaking and all that stuff, but I still think that they're not going to go too far with it. It's not going to turn into a yuck fest. I think if they're going to do these things, they're going to work within the context of the show. So if they can make him work and it'll be good, they won't just throw him in.
All right. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Does her comments, first of all, what do you think of her comments? I think her comments are amazing.
Hilarious.
But do her comments sway you at all in your thoughts about whether or not Deadpool could show up? I still say maximum is 10% chance. What do you guys think about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys, before we move on to main topic number 4 here, let's take another second and thank another sponsor of today's episode, our friends at Upside. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode, Upside. Guys, from cringing at the pump to getting an eye-popping check at your favorite restaurant, inflation is hitting us all where it hurts, and it really hurts. And that's why I started using Upside. Upside is an incredible app for anybody who buys groceries, gas, or dines out. With every purchase, you are earning cash back thanks to Upside. And guys, believe me, I know. You hear about apps like this, and it turns out you have 40 or 50 hoops you have to jump through, but believe me, Upside is super easy to use. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's not. I've used it and it works. Upside is a no-brainer. To get started, download the free Upside app. Use my promo code Campea Show and get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. Next, claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside, check in at the business, pay as usual with a credit card or debit card, and get paid. In comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash back with Upside. So guys, download the free Upside app and use the promo code Campea Show to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using the promo code Campea Show. And thank you to our friends at Upside for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Reminder, guys, that when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So the links and the promo codes to all of our sponsors, you'll find at the top of the description of this video. Go and support them again because it's supporting us. So thank you so much for that, guys. All right, with that down, let's move into main topic number 4. Rob, what is our 4th main topic today?
John, our 4th main topic today comes to us from Josh V117. Greetings, John and crew. So I was rewatching Avatar last week and only got halfway through. When I went to finish it today, it was gone.
Poof!
I searched all over Disney Plus and I couldn't find it. I found it was removed from the service with no explanation. Why do you think Avatar was removed? And do you think it has something to do with the re-release coming soon?
All right, so look, makes sense. We know we've got the new Avatar movie finally coming out. I think a few years too late, but still, here it is. It's going to be a big hit. So yeah, it's like, you know what? I'm going to go back to, what's it called again?
Pandora.
I'm going to go back to Pandora. I'm going to go watch that original again. Totally makes sense. Absolutely. Oops. I did it again. It's gone. Now, the first thought that I have when I see that is, well, it was a Fox movie. And we've seen happen this with even on HBO with the Harry Potter films and stuff like that. Sometimes even some of these bigger movies, they had pre-existing contracts and licenses and stuff. And we've seen some big movies come onto a streaming service, be there for like a month, and then disappear. And I thought, well, this might have something to do with that because it was a 20th Century Fox thing, pre-made deals, all that kind of stuff. However, when that happens, it doesn't normally disappear from a streaming service worldwide. It's usually certain territories. This one just disappeared. This comes to us from the folks over What's on Disney Plus that wrote this. Disney has quietly removed the epic 20th Century Studios film Avatar, the biggest box office hit in cinematic history, from Disney Plus worldwide without informing subscribers in advance. While Disney regularly removes 20th Century Studio titles from Disney Plus in the US due to previous contracts with other streaming services, this removal has happened globally. Removing a film from Disney Plus ahead of a theatrical re-release has probably been done to try to encourage more people to go see it in cinemas before the sequel arrives. And that again comes to us from What's on Disney Plus. Okay, number one, while it is totally has happened, 20th century movies have come and gone and stuff like that. I do believe they're right here. Disney, I believe, while nobody at Disney has confirmed this for me, that this was done to encourage people to run out and see it in theaters when they do the re-release. And I feel 2 different ways about that. On the one hand, I kind of think it's a good move because, yeah, if you're going to do this re-release in theaters ahead of that you could probably they're probably going to make a couple $1,000,000 on this, padding its lead over Avengers Endgame as the biggest box office hit of all time, until, of course, before Avengers the Kang Dynasty comes out, they re-release Infinity War and Endgame, so it can become the biggest film again. But whatever, Disney's making money hand over fist. So I think that's why they're doing it. Again, we don't know that for a fact, but from what the information we have available to us, which is the only thing we can ever base anything on, the information we have available to us, it looks to me that that's why they're doing it. And hey, yeah, get people back in theaters. The best place to experience Avatar is in the movie theaters rather than at home. It absolutely is. So you make some money, you give people the better experience, get all that. But Rob, there's also a part of this that doesn't really feel right. You know, you ask your consumers, hey, become a member of Disney Plus. Look at what we got. And there's going to be licensing issues sometimes. There are things that are beyond your control, absolutely. But to say to your subscribers on Disney Plus, we got this big thing coming. And now this piece of content is going to be more relevant than ever. So we're going to take it away from you. That's the part to me that does not feel right. And listen, I'm not gonna make a mountain out of a molehill here. Like this isn't the be all end all. This isn't shatter anything. But I don't know. On the one hand, I feel like it's a good move, business wise, and I get it and I understand it. But on the other hand, saying, yeah, we're gonna temporarily take this away from you the time you want to watch it the most. It feels like a curious decision, Rob. It feels like a curious decision. You see this, number one, 2 questions for you. Why do you think they removed it from the service? It looks like there's only a couple options. Maybe you can think of some others. And then number 2, how do you feel about it coming off?
Well, first of all, let me just say, John, you can either borrow my 3D disc or my extended version of Avatar for your PlayStation 5 in your new movie room. I'm happy to do that for you. But secondly, or firstly, look, I think it is all about this re-release, which we found out about at CinemaCon.
Yes.
And I actually was kind of excited about that because, you know, I
still am.
Yeah, I've often told the story about taking my mom, my unimaginative, very pragmatic mother, to see Avatar in IMAX 3D. And I've never seen her eyes as big as they were seeing that movie in a theater. And she was like, how did they make that movie? And she had a sense of wonder. And I have not seen that in my mom's face. And I would love to see people, I mean, a whole generation of people has been born that has not seen Avatar on the big screen in IMAX in 3D. And I think that experience alone, I mean, people are going to ET for the first time this past weekend. And I think that their re-release of Avatar, look, they want to make a big splash, and there's nothing else coming out in September. So I think it's great that they're re-releasing it. I'm sure that was what motivated them taking that off. However, like you said, it's kind of, I mean, they always announce when things are coming and going. They did this very quietly.
Very quietly.
And as our viewer who's paying for Disney Plus, I watched half of Avatar because, you know, it's like 3 hours long, goes back to watch it and it's just gone. Now, if I was a customer, I'd be pissed. I'm like, wait a minute. I was in the middle of this great movie. I know the sequel's coming out. I want to watch it. And then it's gone. Like, that's not cool.
And it will be back.
It'll be back. But it's like, just, I think, tell people. But that's our future. You know, our future is whether you're renting video games or if you don't own things and you have digital libraries that are reliant on other services, this is what's going to happen in the future. People can just take things away from you.
Now, it's still, I should point out, it's still available to rent. If you want to go online and rent Avatar, it's still available to rent. And they didn't remove it. Like if you own a digital copy of Avatar,
well, that's good.
They have not like removed if you had paid $15 before to buy a digital copy of Avatar, it didn't disappear from your library. But
right.
Disney Plus is taking it down.
Yeah, I mean, and this is going to happen. It's going to happen more and more. I mean, I think as they lose licenses or eventually, like you said, the streaming services are still trying to figure all this out.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a main, it doesn't get much bigger than Avatar. And if they're going to take that off your streaming service, the one place it's available to stream, I think it's kind of not good if they don't tell.
You know what you need to do now, right, John? Borrow Rob's disc, go online, start selling tickets to the Campea Theater to watch it there.
The TJCS
nobody can
Theater.
watch it on
One night
Disney Plus.
exclusive only.
We'll make a killing. Oh boy.
$1,500 a ticket. For $2,500, you get a post-movie meet and greet with Robert Meyer Burnett.
There you go.
Yep.
And then you can come to my house and watch it in 3D.
And bring all your scripts. Rob would
And
love
Rob
to
would
read
love to
all
read
of
them.
Oh no!
scripts.
Don't say that.
They did the same thing around when the last Spider-Man movie came out. They removed even like Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, The Amazing Spider-Man. They took all that stuff off streaming. You could purchase the digital copy, but you could not stream it because everyone wanted to like watch those and they knew it.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. No, and by the way, we're all operating on the assumption that that's why they took it down.
Right.
We don't know for a fact that that's true. We may actually get a press release to find out that it was something else, maybe. But if this is the reason they took it down, it feels a little sketchy.
I have one more theory about why they've done this. I think maybe with this re-release, with this re-release, maybe Cameron went and made some tweaks. And
That's
when
what someone was saying in the chat.
All right.
That
When
they did redo some of the
yeah,
things
they
in
might
it.
have redone some of the effects, and this
So
is the
George
old.
Lucas it a little bit, you think?
Well, I think it just. I don't think so that he fundamentally changed things. Like I don't think Greedo shoots first or anything like that.
You don't think there's going to be a big musical number at the Tree of Life or whatever?
No,
later
there
on?
could be. You know,
like a little Pandorian rock band.
maybe the scene where they smoke some dank Pandoran nugs, and strum those guitaristas. I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, in all seriousness, they might have gone back and fixed some things. And Cameron pulled down the old version. They're going to put the new one
And
back
they
up.
want it to first be seen on the big screen.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
I would be a little bit more understanding. If that was the case, like, you know what, we have taken the original film, we've made a couple of improvements to it, and we want the first place that people to see that to be on the big screen.
Yeah.
I would be a little bit more understanding that.
And that'll be a selling point.
Yeah, I
Come
agree.
see Avatar like you've never seen it before.
They're purple now.
But no, I don't.
Purple now.
You just have to slide that.
That means
hue.
they sing some Prince songs. But the thing is, I don't know that for sure. That's just speculation.
All right, guys, question is for you. How do you feel about this whole thing? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into our fifth and final main topic today. Rob, what is our fifth topic today?
Well, John, I can guess. Alan G says, "Hey, John and team. So I watched She-Hulk last night, and I really enjoyed it. The Jennifer character is fantastic, and I think the thing I loved most about it was just the conversations between her and Bruce. I noticed that every clip with Bruce in the trailers was in this first episode. Do you think that's all we're going to get of Hulk in this show, or do you think he'll turn up again? Thanks."
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Alan. And yeah, sat down, watched She-Hulk last night. Now, I have been expecting a great half-hour legal comedy that takes place in the cinematic universe. That's kind of what I've been expecting. So I sat down and watched it last night, and I was surprised in two ways. In one way, I was surprised how much I liked the show.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised how much I like everything about Bruce and getting, and, we're going to, by the way, we have, I don't know if you have the graphic there for Jonathan or not, but a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today, Rob and I are going to do our open She-Hulk after show, open spoiler discussion, 3 p.m. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. So we're going to talk in some very non-spoilery ways here. But a lot of the stuff about Bruce I thought was great and riveting. The way they told the story, the way they set up the origin, all that kind of stuff. I found myself just purely really enjoying the show. Like really enjoying the show. The second surprise, though, to me, was that I did not find it nearly as funny as I thought I would.
Mm.
And, producer Jonathan brought up a really good point. When I was mentioning that to Jonathan this morning, it's like I really liked it. Like I thought it was better than I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. But I was going in there getting ready for a lot of laughs, and it didn't really deliver that. And Jonathan asked me a great question. He said, well, now, did it not deliver laughs because the jokes didn't work, or did it not deliver laughs because there weren't as many jokes as you thought? I said it's the second one. They didn't go for a lot of the big laughs. There was only like 3 or 4 points in the show I felt like they went for the big laughs, and they were effective. I was just expecting to laugh more. I really was. So whatever. I still really, really quite enjoyed the show. But I also, it was neat for me because our buddy Ryan came over. I sat down, I was watching, and Ann was beside me watching it. And the one scene that I thought my wife was going to die in was a scene that was in the trailers. When Hulk says the main triggering factors are fear and anxiety. And Jennifer's like, these are the base emotions of women. What are you talking about? I don't think Ann had seen that trailer because Ann lost her mind. She goes, it's so fucking true. Like she's laughing. But there was one other thing. There's a moment in the episode, and we'll talk about it in the open spoiler. I'll say there's a moment in the episode where Jennifer is talking to Bruce, and she kind of opens her heart up a little bit and tells him about just experiences she's had and why she as a woman is angry a lot and has had to control her anger a lot. And I looked over at my wife, Ann. I looked over because I heard a sniff. And I looked over my wife, and she literally had tears in her eyes. And we'll go into what exactly Jennifer said in the open after show later. But I remember talking to Ann afterwards. She goes, that's my life. Which she talked about in that moment. That has been my life. And I think sometimes as a man, I forget that women sometimes have different experiences than we do. And apparently, I can't say this directly, but apparently it speaks directly to that. And so again, for me, not as funny as I was hoping it would be, but a better episode of television than I thought it was going to be. So I quite enjoyed it. Rob, in a non-spoilery way,
yeah.
I can do that.
I can do that.
Come on.
Totally
Put it up, Jonathan.
What did you think of the first episode of She-Hulk?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great first episode.
Possible. We need to make another one that says possible.
It was a great first episode. I really did enjoy it. I was actually surprised. I mean, this was not an inexpensive episode of TV.
Oh God, no.
Because people talked about. I thought the CGI was great on both Jennifer and the Hulk, and there was a lot of them in this episode. I would imagine we're going to see a lot less hulking out later as we move on in the series. I think that they also set up the fact that there's a question posed. Why is this particular thing?
Yep.
And I think that will come into play. I do think that we'll see Hulk again answering the question, and that answer will lead elsewhere. But that's just speculation. But I mean, look at this. This was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed this. But what I thought was great about this show was we got so much insight into what it means to be a Hulk.
Yeah.
With stuff that we haven't dealt with in the MCU. And I really felt something. Like this made Banner one of my favorite MCU characters, this episode of TV, because they haven't spent that much time, when he said things in the past, like, I'm always angry, that's the secret. Or when he was talking to Nat, about being a monster, and that was great stuff. But there were moments. There were moments.
Yeah.
And this was really interesting. I was like, I'm like, this is fascinating stuff that I didn't expect to get. But like you, it was comedic. And we've seen the trailer shows you that it's going to be fun and it's not heavy.
Yeah, it's not heavy.
But it wasn't as jokey like you as I thought. I thought the humor worked. There wasn't anything where I was like, wah, wah, wah. It was really well earned, and I thought it was a great hour or a great half hour, a great 38 minutes of television. I really enjoyed it, and I thought.
And by the way, post-credit scene was great. Post-credit was great.
My God, and pays off it's so good. And her delivery, and she's fantastic.
Yeah, Tatiana.
There's
a reason she's an award-winning actress.
This was my first exposure to this actress, and I found her charming. Like she's great. I think my only problem with it, I really liked the episode. I wasn't expecting a lot of laughs, but my only problem with it now is I don't know if that 30 minutes, no matter how good the episode is worth me staying up till 12. That's my only dilemma now. Yeah, I'm excited for the next episode for sure, but staying up for 30 minutes, no matter how good it is, that's my personal feeling on it.
We'll get up early and watch it in the morning.
You get up and watch it in the morning. Yeah. But this brings up another issue. By the way, they asked, do we think we're going to see Hulk again? I don't think we're going to see Banner again. Could be wrong about that.
I think we are, because the question's going to be answered.
But that might be a question that gets answered in another movie
or another
thing somewhere down. But here's the thing too. Like, we were talking about this before the show started. Yesterday, we talked about the news that Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, is going to launch with 2 episodes. And one of the things I said was, the reason I think that's great is because, especially with new shows, it takes more than the first episode to really get a feel for what this show is. And especially, like Ray, you're saying, especially being a 30-minute show, I really felt they should have done that with She-Hulk. After watching that first episode, I really feel like they should have launched with the first 2 episodes to give us a better sense of what the show really is. But listen, I thought the first episode, very strong start. Again, not as funny as I was hoping it would be, but it's a very strong start nonetheless. Then again, I thought Boba Fett was a very strong start too. But by the way, I thought Obi-Wan was a really strong start too. So this one had a strong start, but it would have been really nice to get the first couple of episodes to get a better feel for it, especially since the fact that it's 9 episodes, right? So they had a little bit of wiggle room there, I think.
Do you think it showed enough where people could already decide whether this show's for them or not? Do you think it showed enough of what it's giving? I thought it did.
I'll say this.
I thought it did.
I think if there are people, like any movie or TV show, I think there are people who are just really turned off by it and it didn't work for them at all. Probably. I think there are going to be a bunch of people that are going to feel like that was definitely enough for me to come back again next week, but the jury's still out a little bit. But it's enough for me to come back next week and see what they got. I don't know, Rob, what do you think about that?
Well, Elizabeth, I asked her that very question. She goes, because she's so superheroed out. She's so tired of all the, and she said to me after it was over, she goes, okay, I'll watch that.
Yes.
And
Okay,
she enjoyed it. And so I was like, okay, and I think that it was entertaining enough. And not only that, it was just interesting. There was Hulk world building going on that I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, I quite, again, today at 3 p.m., guys, the She-Hulk after show, our open spoiler discussion. Make sure you come back and join us for that, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll go into all the details. We want to hear about your thoughts of it and your theories and whatever. We'll get into that a little bit later today. Make sure you come back and join us for that. All right, guys. With all that down now, we're going to move into our open questions that you guys are going to send in. Your thoughts, your theories, your opinions, your questions. You can send those in now. So we're going to open up the super chat so you guys can do that. Be quick, though, because we only leave the super chats open for a few minutes. So get those in as fast as you can. But before we get to those questions, guys, we're going to take a second and thank another sponsor of today's show. Man, the Hulk could use these guys, our friends at Manscaped. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped is more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Campea at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.
And thanks to our sponsor of this episode of the John Campea Show, Manscaped.
What?
It's always a good thing.
The Beyond
Be
Crew,
prepared. So, Ray,
Yeah.
do you have anything from our viewers in the live chat?
Yeah, we got one from Mike's Movie Madness. He says, "Hey, John and crew, excited for She-Hulk after work today. Game day. I had an idea for an after show segment, John's Bar Exam, where John briefs us some of the law stuff in the show."
That's not a bad idea.
I know that is not a bad
I'm going to bring
idea.
that up to him. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because he's at the bar exam right now.
He is at the bar exam right now. But he's drinking.
Yeah. All right. And we got one last one from a viewer that's in here every day watching us, Slice of Brie. She says, "She-Hulk and the Campea crew in one day. Pretty sweet birthday I'm having. Love
Well.
you guys to the moon and back. Happy birthday, Slice of Brie."
Happy birthday, Slice of Brie. I hope you have a
she's
good one, and thanks for celebrating it with us.
So bring up a, let's say, Mike's Movie Madness suggestion.
So Mike's Movie Madness had a great suggestion, John.
What's that?
He said that we do some kind of a legal brief segment of our after shows where you bring your legal acumen to bear on the accuracy or comment on the legal cases before the court that Jennifer must take on.
That's a really cool idea.
It's a great idea.
I mean,
isn't
there
it?
wasn't much of that in episode 1.
No.
But maybe we could look at that a little bit later.
I think that'd be cool.
That reminds me of like if we did a Bob's Burgers, like let's say we did. There's a lot of cooking stuff in there that's real stuff, real like
you try to cook
yeah.
it.
No. Like it's real tips on how to cook certain things, and I was like, I should review this show
Or try it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get over to our super chats then. What
All
do we
right,
got
let's
up
do
there?
that. Josh Becker says, will there be a House of Dragon pregame show?
You know what? Okay, so there will be a House of Dragon pregame show, but not for episode 1. Reason being is I know nothing about the show.
Right.
I mean, I know nothing about these hundreds of years before the events. Now with She-Hulk, we know the MCU. We know the world. We can talk. We can speculate. So there will be a pregame show once we get to episode 2. Once we get into episode 2, but there won't be for episode. But you know there's going to be an after show on Monday about House of the Dragon. So very, very, of course, the first episode drops on Sunday. So excited for this.
Bruh.
So there will be an after show on Monday.
Just a quick one that someone threw in last second from a premium member. I don't know if you wanted me to read it now.
Well,
or-
let's finish on
Okay.
this though thing first. So
Sorry.
but I mean, it makes sense though not to do a pre-show for the first episode when we just know nothing about the show, right?
Should we call our pre-show Little House of the Dragon?
Because all we would be doing is really
Wow.
talking about the trailer.
Right.
That's all we have to go on.
That's all we know.
Whereas with She-Hulk or even with Lord of the Rings, like we have or even we know the Star Wars universe, we know the MCU. So yeah, what's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. We still don't have a way to do this, but Casey McGrew says, "Hey guys, I watched Sandman and really loved the show. If there's a season 2, where can the show go from where it left off? I've never read the comics, so I'm interested to
Oh.
in some
okay,
theories."
so we can't talk about where the
Yep.
show goes because a lot of people haven't. I'm one of them. I haven't finished the series yet, so we can't talk about that. But I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I'm still only up to episode 6. I haven't been able to pick up from there because I've had a lot of stuff to watch.
Right.
But I have been very impressed with this series.
I can say this. The second season would have my very favorite Sandman story in it, a long, extended
Maybe.
story. Well, if they
Have
follow...
they said that that's what they would do that story? if they did
No,
season
but I
2?
mean, the first season, they follow pretty religiously. I mean,
Right.
there's some things that they changed around, like the Hob Gadling story and Death, putting those together. But they've been very, very faithful to the comics.
All right. What's
And
next?
also, Tumbling Tornado gifted 10 John Campea memberships.
Wow.
Thank you. That's always so cool when they do that for the other
I
viewers.
love that.
That is amazing.
Actually, it's Tumbling Turdnado.
Tumbling
Tumbling
Turd
Turd NATO. Thank you so much for doing that, man. This is incredibly generous of
I
you.
wouldn't
for our
want to be
members.
caught in
That's
one,
great.
though.
Tumbling through Dildo, Canada.
Okay. All right.
That's in Newfoundland.
What's next?
Ben Rayner says, I'm like you, Campea. I'm digital movies all the way. Come on, man.
Wrong guy.
I'm digital movies all the way. But most of the time, I buy a movie through iTunes and Amazon. That way, I still, quote unquote, own digital copies and features.
Yeah, I still will buy movies from time to time, and they're always there in my library. The great thing about that is, right now, if I wanted to let Rob just answer the rest of the questions, I could just open this up. I can sit back and watch my entire library that I own.
On a phone.
It's right here. Yeah, that's the way it works for me. But you know what? Here's the thing. Even if they removed my favorite movie of all time, let's say they took Star Wars down. I bought the Star Wars collection, obviously. So say they took it down. Okay. I still didn't have to spend however much money I would have had to on a physical disc. It wouldn't have just been collecting dust, taking up space in my house, taking up all this kind of stuff. A lot of them probably go missing, and somebody borrows them, or where did this one go, or whatever. It's like open up a case of wait, that's not the right movie in there. I mean, it still would have been worth it to save me all the hassle that being physical. Now, that's not to take away any of the advantages of physical. Absolutely, I'm not disputing that. But for people like me, it's just far better and far more convenient to have it this way.
I buy that.
And for others, the advantages of physical are more important than the people like me, where the advantages of digital are more important. It all depends on what's a priority for you, I suppose.
I agree.
All right, what's next?
Very astute. Andy, one of two, says Nexstar may have bought up the CW, but the real owners are actually the boys from SPN. Jared is the EP of Walker and its prequel. Jensen is the EP of
It's right here.
The Winchester, and Misha is in Gotham Knights.
I don't think Gotham Knights is going to happen. I think the Winchesters looks like one of the worst things I mean, it's just a trailer. I'm only judging the trailer. That's it, not the show itself. But the trailer was awful. And I've never seen Walker. So, I mean, no, they stay involved, but I would not say they have any real major sway at CW at this point, unfortunately.
Probably no.
But I do love those guys. Love those guys. All right, what's next?
Justin Lee says, for Rob, all right, LA and other cities around the world will be lit pink at the same time for Blackpink's comeback this week. They'll also be in LA for the VMAs. Wait a minute. What? You mean La Lisa is going to be here in LA?
What's a Lalisa?
She's one of the members of Blackpink.
All right.
Lisa, my favorite member of Blackpink. Do you know anybody in the press that can, get somebody an interview?
Yeah, no, you got
not do that.
I did not realize they're lighting up. I'm going to light my house up pink for Black. They also have a big album thing coming out. Oh, boy.
All right,
But what is this comeback? They've never gone away. They're in my area all
Hang
day
on a
and every
second.
day.
It looks like our we're frozen. We have
We're frozen?
internet connection. We have internet, but it looks like it's a YouTube thing. I tried.
Could be a YouTube thing. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you gotta.
No one's saying anything.
Yeah, but guys, are you able to hear us or whatever?
Oh, not frozen.
Some people are saying it's fine.
They say it's fine.
All right. Well, I'm not getting on my end, but that's fine. All right.
Okay,
Go ahead.
everything's saying it's good. All right, let's keep rolling. What's next?
We have to scroll down,
Oh, we did Andy.
We did
We're on
Andy.
Justin. Yeah.
but we got to go down further. No, other way.
It's just
You can
Justin
go
right
up.
here.
Yep. So now we just answered the.
I just did
Blackpink
Justin.
one.
Yeah, there we go. In my humble opinion, reviews said, happy birthday to the late, great Patrick Swayze. Underrated film by him is Next of Kin. I love Next of Kin.
You know what? I don't think I've seen that.
It's a good movie. It's got a lot of revenge in it. It's good.
Well, that's always good.
A lot of
Revenge
action.
is always good.
It's good.
All right, what's next?
It's good. Ryan Lohner says, can you imagine how much the Harley Quinn writers are just dying to do some meta jokes about Zaslav and Ezra's situation? Season 4 right there.
Oh, you know they're going to.
Oh, for sure.
But it won't be season 4 though, because apparently, like we talked about this last week, apparently season 4 is done.
Yeah.
They've already got the episodes listing and all that kind of stuff. So it may not be in episode 4, but maybe they can squeeze something. It would be pretty fun. if
Can
they
you
did.
imagine if they just bring Flash into the show and
Oh
do
my
something?
gosh, that'd be so funny. All right, what's next?
Jim One says, I've been loving Best Movie, Worst Movie. I would love to see you cover Bond. Oh, that's a really
That's
good
a good one to
idea.
do.
Especially as Rob is a big fan. My choice for best would be For Your Eyes Only.
Well, here's the thing: if we told you what our best would be, then there would be no point in us doing that as an
Right.
episode of best movie, worst movie. So, but I think that is a great idea for a best movie, worst movie.
I can tell you neither my best nor worst would be For Your Eyes Only.
I will tell you this: the next episode of Best Movie, Worst Movie, which we are recording today, the topic is Best and Worst Horror Movies of the 90s. Horror Movies of the 90s is the next episode of Best Movie, Worst Movie. Make sure you guys join us for that. All right, what's next?
Amin says, if we get Spidey 4, could they announce it at D23?
Possibly.
Yeah, would that be the event that they would announce something like that on?
Oh, D23 is definitely the event you would announce. That they drop bombs at this.
Although
thing.
that's a Sony movie.
We are going to be there, but it does involve the MCU. So we are going to be there. Rob and I are going to be at D23. We will be reporting from there, but I do not expect that we're going to hear a Spider-Man 4 announcement at this point. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, without spoilers, did we get an answer to who is in the ship that drops in front of the car?
We're not going to discuss that. We'll come back for the open spoiler discussion later, but giving any answer to that would in and of itself be a
Yes,
spoiler,
I
so we
agree.
can't do that. All right, what's next?
Jason Frost says, I enjoyed She-Hulk, but personally felt like a second episode had needed to drop with it,
I agree.
as most of the scenes were in the trailer or featurettes.
I agree.
I agree too.
And again, I really thought it was a very solid episode. For me.
My chat disconnected.
Okay, go ahead and reset the router.
All right. We're up now.
We're up now.
Looks like it.
Is the show running?
Yeah.
Oh, the show is running.
Yep. Everyone's
Okay.
saying it's back. Yeah.
Everybody's saying it's back. Okay.
Back, baby.
I don't know if this has
Yeah.
been a YouTube issue or if it's been our internet issue today. So sorry about that, guys. All right. In that case, let's keep going. What's next?
Stubble McShave says, I wonder what Cameron thinks of Disney Plus removing Avatar. Could it impact Avatar 2 negatively if Avatar is not available on Disney Plus when Avatar 2 is released?
No. I you know what? I feel I don't know anything about this as a 100% certainty. But there is a very, very, very infinitesimal chance that James Cameron wasn't consulted or knows something about this. He's one of those players where not any director. James Cameron is one of the 3 or 4 who does wield that kind of stuff that I'm sure he was aware of it. No, this isn't going to negatively impact the second one. All right, what's next?
Andy says HBO Max just took off 30% off their no ad yearly subscription. It went from $150 a year to $105 a year. I just renewed my annual sub last week. I'm hella salty ASF.
Oh, really? They just discounted? Let me see that question again. So they took 30% off their non-ad yearly subscription.
On ads too?
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's almost $50.
I know.
They
also took off 30% off of their.
You should call and bitch. And maybe they'll give you that money back, or maybe they'll refund you or something.
I mean, but look, this is true of anything, right? You buy a computer and then the next day you find out it goes on sale. I mean, that's the reality of being a consumer. Whenever you buy or get anything, that you run the risk that tomorrow the price on it may drop. So you get it when you get it, but really that's huge.
It is huge.
I'm surprised they are, because like $15 a month is a great value for the kind of content that's on there. So I'm surprised they dropped the price.
Yeah, I mean, and hell, with that discount.
I mean, again, I don't know if you're
re-up.
correct. You might be wrong. I haven't seen this myself. I'm just going off what you're telling me, but that's really interesting. All right, what's next?
Louis Tong says, show idea. Rob's Video Show, a show where Rob showcases, reviews, deep dives into a movie from his physical media collection. Bring on the filthy. I used to do that. You know, I was going through my collection, pulling out 10 titles from each letter of the alphabet, but I stopped at G. And people are always writing, when are you going to do the rest of the alphabet?
But I asked this seriously, okay, as a serious question, from a programming point of view. Did that particular video, in relation to some of your other content, did that get a lot of views?
No.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. I mean, it's a very interesting show idea, but one of the questions we have to ask, because every show we make costs money, because everybody who works here gets paid. The office that we're in, we got to pay rents on, like all that kind of stuff. So everything we do costs money. And so we always have to ask the question, in any video content that we produce, is that going to get people to watch it? And I don't think that would get people to watch it.
Well, you know, I do a physical media show every Sunday at 11 o'clock in the afternoon with Dieter Bastian from
let's get
Saarbrücken, Deutschland.
Great
Yeah,
idea
let's get physical media. And we only get 3,000 to 4,000 views, and it's really expensive because Dieter and I show what we bought all week. So it's a deficit show. We never make enough in super chats or anything like that. We just basically do it just like, I got to go buy more discs to show on the show.
All right, what's next?
I love doing it though, by the way.
Yep.
Brendan M says, hey y'all, Andor question. Over or under 8% we see Alden as Han or Glover as Lando in Andor. Love y'all and be well.
The
That's actually a good
Glover question 0. I don't think you can get him. Alden Ehrenreich? Hey man, he's still in the Disney family. He's going to be an Ironheart.
And they need a good smuggler.
I would say over 8. I'm not going to say 50. I'm not going to say it's likely, but I would take over 8%. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it takes place 5 years before Star Wars, so why not? I mean, you know what? I'll go over 8% on that. How much fun would that be? I would love to do an arc where they need the services of a smuggler. That makes sense.
What's next?
Chad Burney says, what if Henry Cavill is in Black Adam, but as Bizarro Superman?
No.
He would be a great antagonist and could lose to Black Adam in a Black Adam movie without hurting the feelings of Superman's fans.
Number 1, why would Henry Cavill do that?
Bring on the filthy.
Number 2, I don't see how that would really make any sense. A lot of the audience would be going, that's what, Superman?
Right.
No, 0 chance. I don't know. What do you think?
I think
it's
zero
absolutely
chance as well. They're not going to bring Henry Cavill back and have him play Bizarro Superman.
And what's the narrative? What's the story there?
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. I mean, I'd love to see Henry Cavill in anything, but I just don't see that happening.
No.
All right, what's next?
Morgan Holmes sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you, Morgan.
That's really generous, man.
Love this show. Anything I can do to support, I absolutely will. Clock is ticking. This Sunday, fire will rain, and all will bend the knee.
I am getting more and more excited for this show.
Come on.
I really am. Look, the Ring of Power is still my number 1 most anticipated. It has been for like 5 years. But I when the first images for it came out, I'm like, okay. But that Comic-Con trailer they dropped, like we were all here together and we watched it all together. And we were like, that trailer was incredible.
Yep.
And I all of a sudden realized I miss Game of Thrones a lot. And I didn't even realize it until I saw that. And it's like, it's kind of like you forget something was your favorite dish. And then you're walking down past something and you catch a smell of something. You go, I forgot that is my favorite thing in the world. You know what I mean?
Dude. And the thing is, as much as I might not have liked the final season or whatever, it's still one of the greatest TV shows ever made.
Yeah.
And I love watching it. I love going back through the whole season. Elizabeth and I watch the whole thing again. I can't wait for this.
All right. What's next?
Cutter Hale says, big weekend for me at the movies. Beast tonight, Bullet Train a third time tomorrow, and UFC 278 Saturday night. I'm excited.
Is it 278? I thought it was 279.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It is 278.
Usman.
I think pound for pound. Now that Khabib Nurmagomedov is retired, Usman is the best pound for pound fighter in the world now. He's got his hands full Saturday night. So yeah, big weekend. I'm going to go see Beast tonight. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's
I love
Thursday.
Idris
That's
Elba.
right. I might do that too.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I'm very excited about it. All right. What's next?
Peter Cunnington says, Ben Kingsley's new movie with Ezra Miller, that's what I was thinking about yesterday, will be at the Toronto Film Festival, but Ezra will not be, and he won't even be credited.
Yep, I heard it. I saw that news. They're showing that film, and they took his name off of the credits.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only way that can happen is if Ezra Miller agrees to that, because that's a contractual thing.
Right.
Like it is actually it's even in the contracts these days about where somebody's name appears in a poster.
Yeah, I bet they couldn't take it off the
film.
film.
Agreed to that.
I bet they didn't take it off the film itself, but any
posters,
materials.
Promotional thing, yeah. But even then, I think it's something Ezra would have to have agreed to.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised, but again, just to be aware, it is something Ezra would have probably had to have agreed to. And you know, why wouldn't he have agreed to it at this point? He understands, like Ezra Miller understands that nobody has done anything to their career except them. They're the ones who wrecked their career. They're the ones who have put these studios' projects in danger. And so, yeah, if they're confronted with, would you be okay? We're trying to promote this film that we spent millions of dollars on. Would you be okay if we took your name off it? At least off the poster or whatever. It would be more than reasonable to Ezra go, yeah, I get it.
And I'll bet when you have Gandhi coming to ask you that,
yes,
they would have to say yes.
Yeah, you sent him. You send him to do the request. You cannot deny it.
Cannot
at that point. When Sir Ben comes asking, you
Yes.
just.
What he has to do in his Trevor accent.
I love that. Was a great surprise for me to see him. Pop up.
Or if he goes in his sexy beast persona.
Oh no,
that would be
Man,
that would intimidate the hell out of me. I'd be like, okay, I'm not in the movie.
All right, what's
Whatever
next?
you need. Jamal Sanderson says, being that we're in the multiverse saga, do you think no one has mentioned the Celestials because it's not in the 616?
No. If they did, that would really make me hate this multiverse bullshit even more.
Me too.
I listen. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of multiverse bullshit. I mean, it can give you a few cool kind of little things, like we got to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, but overall, it just makes for messy, consequence-less storytelling, and I cannot wait for it to be over.
Yeah.
I really can't wait for it to be over. But that's just me. All right, what's next?
Vixter 5001 says, I blame you, Rob. A pre-order in for InArt Gandalf. Don't blame me.
What's InArt?
InArt is the company that makes those $1,000 6-scale figures.
Oh.
So they did Heath Ledger's Joker is the first one. Gandalf is the second one, and then they just dropped their Pattinson figure, which is
that's right. You were showing me that.
Yeah.
And it comes as a 2-pack.
2-pack, yeah.
One in the Bruce persona, one in the Batman. That one looked really
$1,000
good.
bucks.
Sorry.
$1,000.
Is it? No. Here we go. That's it.
There it is.
Oh my
Dude.
God.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's him.
That's why they cost as much as they cost.
No, that's him, dude.
No, it's not. That's
Beautiful.
that is the InArt Gandalf. And and it's only $500.
Only $500.
That one's only $500.
Yeah.
I want it.
I would think that would be
Dude,
more expensive.
how great is that?
I want that up here right beside Deadpool.
Come on.
But it's a one 1/6 scale.
It's
thing, right?
1/6.
It's a little pricey for 1/6.
Yeah, a little
Do
pricey
it.
price.
Do it.
Like
Do it.
this,
Do it
this
now.
1/4 scale Deadpool roughly cost me less than that. Actually, it cost me a little less
Yeah.
than that for this.
But it
full
doesn't move.
1/4 scale.
Gandalf's fully posable. Comes with accessories.
is
One more. I'm
gorgeous.
going to tempt you again.
Look! Oh my! Look at that face sculpt.
Hey, if the company's watching, we could
What the
promote you
hell?
a little bit.
Oh, I
Send us
mean,
some samples, please.
no, they are it's Queen's. It's a division of Queen Studios.
Oh, they're great.
And
they're
yeah,
expensive.
They're very expensive. They're busts, like they do full size busts of characters.
Yeah,
I mean, they're amazing.
Go to Sideshow.
Cal calls in live chat saying there's no way John is not ordering this. I got that's $500, man.
Come
you
on,
know
dude, you
what?
won't even miss it.
If you're going to order it, you have to order it
How
now.
much money do you think I have?
Well, no, but I mean,
$500.
No. But I mean, there'll be so much joy you'll get from it. You won't even think about how much it costs because you'll look at it every day and be like, "Damn."
You know what
that's
I'll
cool.
do? I'll just make it the wallpaper on my phone. How about that? And I can look at it every day.
That's simple, man.
But you can't smell the plastic when you open the box.
All right, we got to keep going. What's next?
Afreem says, John, the Hawkeye post-game open spoiler discussion show is canceled. Still my favorite first review of an MCU show. Glad She-Hulk is a better start.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
I was man.
You didn't do the Hawkeye thing anymore?
I think I probably bailed on it. I didn't like Hawkeye. It had a couple of episodes. There were a couple of
Yeah.
episodes that were pretty banger. And it's hard because I love Jeremy Renner and I really like that character. I never thought the character should be the lead in their own movie or series. I love them most as a supporting character. Like the role Hawkeye plays in Endgame
Oh, yeah.
is so impactful.
And the opening scene is incredible.
It's like one of the best moments of the movie. A movie where they're fighting for the fate of the universe, but a simple scene of two people in the middle of a rainy street with one of the people being in a lot of pain. And that was one of the highlights. I mean, I love the character. And I love what they bring. It's just, man, I didn't like that show. All right. What's
They
next?
gave us more Yelena, though.
It did
Yeah.
give us more of Yelena.
And
That's
Tracksuit
true.
Mafia.
Swing.
And for Jackson, bro.
Bro. Next
Al,
super chat.
Al Renshaw says, imagine someone saying, I am the mayor of the town of Dildo and visit Regina frequently. He's also subscribed to Cockmax.
Again, I'm not going to lie to you. I listen, Saskatchewan is an awesome, awesome province. I loved every bit of my time living there. Yeah, they got some pretty funky names, man. Pretty funky names up there. That's true. All right, what's next?
This one's a tough one for me. Aspor Loki Runarsson sends in a super chat. First line of Deadpool 3. I just felt a disturbance in the force, as if Disney just spared me from scrapping of the Fox-Men universe. Calling it
The Foxmen. I like
the
that.
Fox-Men.
The Foxmen. I like it. Yeah, look, I am counting on Deadpool 3 to be savage of the MCU, of the merger, of all of it. I want them to be, I hope they are absolutely savage because what's that?
Do you think they're going to throw in Korg at least in one small scene, no matter how, even if there's no explanation why Korg is there?
Not necessarily. I mean, they did that great in the commercial,
Yeah.
but I mean, that would be like, first of all, there's a full CGI thing. That would be an expensive little thing just to drop in there. So I'm going to guess no, but I want them to go full blown savage.
I think they will.
I hope they do. All right, what's next?
Sin Vendetta says, this is why I buy my movies and TV shows through the Microsoft Xbox Movies and TV app, because I know that all my content will be all in one place and not just disappear on me. Yet.
In the world of digital, there's two separate things now. There is the quote unquote free, if you're a member of a streaming service. There's the quote unquote free, just streaming there. It's there as a part of a library for you to get it. But again, that comes and goes with licensing.
My favorite.
Then there is the Google Play Store, iTunes, the Xbox Store, all that kind of stuff where you make a purchase. Now you can say, John, 3 months ago we did a story about how in Germany and Austria these 3 movies disappeared. Like, look, once in a million years something like this can happen. All I know is this.
That was a good voice.
Every
leprechaun.
movie I have ever bought over the year, and I've been buying movies digitally for a decade, not one has moved. Not one is. I have lost 1,000 times more physical media discs than I've ever lost of any of the ones I've bought digitally. They're all there. And we can talk about Chicken Little, the oh no, it's coming. This apocalypse is coming. Yeah, guess people have been telling me that for 10 years. Every one of my movies is still right there that I can open up right now on my phone if I wanted to.
Why don't you get that access, John?
I would love if they're gone.
That's the only thing I don't get access to. Your Google Play.
That's right. That's the only thing Ray gets
Let me
access
see
to all
those
my other
movies.
stuff. Just the only thing I got saved is my actual digital Play Store purchase.
I'll get it one day.
All right, what's next?
What is next? Mr. Holdbrook says, John, I figured out your new name for your show.
Oh, I think Jason.
Oh, that's yes. Could you go scooch down a little
yeah.
bit? Jason DeMassey, sorry. Jason DeMassey says, love the wink to Oscar Isaac eating Cheetos with chopsticks.
Again, we can't discuss it. We can't even say that's what that's from. Okay, what's next?
Mr. Holbrook says, John, I've figured out your new name for your show. You've been hinting at it the whole time. The Pickle My Foot Hour.
The gig's up. They figured it out. Welcome to the Pickle My Foot Network.
Starring me.
Starring Rob, the author, creator, the granddaddy.
Oh, but
My Foot.
that's a hefty licensing fee you paid me, so I appreciate that.
It's big money, man. Big money. How else are you going to buy that Batman? Afford that Gandalf. Why do you think I can't afford that Gandalf now? All right, what's next?
Free birthday for Christmas. Captain Mexico 21 says, BB plus TS equals Bruce
Okay.
Banner and Taylor Swift.
Unfortunately, that we
Guys,
can't
no.
discuss it. All right, what's
No
next?
spoilers.
I don't even know. Retribution Zero says, on open mic, Steve Summers was brought up. Do you think he'll come back as a director, or is he done? Deep Rising is a personal favorite. Keep it filthy. I love Deep Rising, and I have it on physical media, just so you know.
Steve Summers is a director I like. Again, though, the problem was he did something that directors should not do, which is, he took it personally and decided to go after critics who didn't like his movie. And like, I'm sorry, dude, like, and the people who watched your movie and didn't like it, and then you going out on some kind of tirade, making up excuses and making up make-believe stuff. Well, they only just didn't like it because of this. It's like, no, shut up. Just shut up. So look, I would say this. I really do hope we get to see more. I think he's got a very, very creative mind. I would like to see more from him. So, I mean, honestly, for all I know, he's got 5 things in development. I just don't know at this point. But I would like to see more from them.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Deep Rising 2. Tim Platt says, it's game day for
Game day?
Dragon Ball Superhero.
I take back my game day. I recant my game day.
Seeing it tomorrow in IMAX. You're going to see a Dragon Ball movie in IMAX? Every time I see a Dragon Ball movie in theaters, it's always a great atmosphere. You pumped, Ray?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I was just reading the chat. Yeah, I want to see this movie. I'm not sure when I can, but
Dragon Ball Z?
You'll never see power
superhero?
levels like these.
Yeah, I'm sure that level's going to be. We've never seen power levels like this. That line is going to be in the movie. Yeah, I'm not a big Dragon Ball fan, but you know what? Like, I can imagine for people who are, and I've got a lot of friends who are big Dragon Ball fans, that when a movie like that comes out, like, even though I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, I got to imagine the atmosphere at a theater or something like that would probably be
you are a
pretty
fan,
damn
John,
fun.
because you're coming over to my place, barbecuing, and we're watching Dragon Ball Z.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't then record my reaction to it. I don't know. Maybe I should. But you know what? I even though Dragon Ball's not for me, I love that it's got a fan community like that would get so excited.
And you're
for stuff
correct
like
about
that.
the atmosphere. I haven't seen one trailer to this movie, but I just can't wait to see the crowd in the theater watching.
I think it's probably going to be bonkers. It's probably going to be bonkers. Good for them. All right, what's next?
Carlos Sosa says, hey guys, I pre-ordered my Green Goblin No Way Home hot toy.
I'm sure that's going to look awesome.
It's
Is
pretty.
that diecast, Rob?
No, no. No, it's.
But I'm sure it's going to look
But
awesome.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Looks like that.
Yeah, look at that.
That's great.
There you go. Come on.
What's next?
That was pretty fast on the draw there.
I know.
That was pretty great. Ulaton says, John, what's the sound setup in the theater room?
It's actually, we just positioned the speakers yesterday for the first time, and we watched a little bit of the test the sound. I put on the bus fight scene in Shang-Chi. And so then we watched She-Hulk with it. We use a JBL, what is it, a 5.1?
Yeah. It's Atmos, right? It's the Atmos.
I can't remember if it's got the Atmos certification on it or not, but I think it's the JBL 5.1. We got the speakers up on the windows, and it was so great. It was so great. That subwoofer like bangs, like, and I'm not a huge audiophile. Just I'm not. So when I say I've never had a subwoofer that sounded that good, that's not necessarily saying much because I'm not a huge audiophile. But that subwoofer was thumping as the car drove by, you hearing it go literally around the room. It was pretty good. A big shout out to Connie. Big
Connie
shout out to
Thang.
Connie for that JBL system because that
Big surprises
really
from
liked it.
Connie.
And she must only have your address because I don't have any speakers.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, no, I can't.
No. Yeah,
She's not a JBL anymore,
Yeah,
though.
gave you
Oh,
the
yeah, you're right.
headsets. Yeah,
You're right.
All right, what's next?
Trevor sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Trevor. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Trevor.
that. Thank you for always delivering great content. I don't have too many people I can geek out about movies or shows, so watching your show always brings so much joy.
You know, Trevor, I can totally relate because I'm a big tech geek. I'm a big tech geek, and not a lot of my friends are, to be honest with you. And so I have a lot of my favorite YouTube channels that I'm so grateful that I love to just go to their tech channels and geek out over the latest. I call me whatever. I want to get all this stuff on the latest USB microphones. I want to hear all about the brand new USB interfaces. I want to find out all that, and I find that those channels are there and I get to geek out with them and I have a good time. And I'm glad that this show can be that for you or anybody else that just loves to geek out and talk about these things that we love the most, the movies and TV shows. And if we can be here for you for that, that is awesome. We're appreciative that you're here joining us for it as well. All right, what's next?
The People's Champ 2007 says, is Ezra's apology plus seeking mental help enough for the movie to be finally released?
It was going to be released whether they apologized or not. We've been talking about that for a long time. That movie was coming out. Like, barring Ezra Miller straight up murdering somebody or a ton of more stuff happening later, like something that escalated beyond the things that have already happened. This movie was coming out regardless. So they've got their summer of next year thing. I think they should move up the release date. I personally think they should just drop it before the end of the year, to be honest with you, just to make sure more shenanigans don't happen with Ezra Miller, to be honest with you. But this movie's coming out almost hell or high water. So
They're going to announce it releases at the back end of the 10-year plan.
coming.
We want to do it just
2031, The Flash. Got a lot of work to do on that CGI. All right, what's next?
Owen Lanning says, need a Harley Quinn after show.
It's difficult doing an after show for just an animated comedy because it's just basically that joke was funny.
Yeah.
And that joke was funny. Believe me, I could talk Harley Quinn all the time, but it's a difficult concept to do a after show for. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, on a recent episode of Hollywood Babylon on the Hollywood Babylon podcast, Kevin Smith talked about his bizarro Jimmy Olsen pitch, and it sounded great. I would love to see it.
Here's the thing about pitches. Pitches almost always sound great. They really do. And I'm not saying wouldn't be. You know how big of a fan I am of Kevin Smith. I love Kevin Smith. Like his movie Clerks 2 was a very important, I know it sounds weird to say about a Clerks movie, but it was a very, very important movie at a very, very important time in my life. And I will always be indebted to Kevin Smith for that film. And whether you're talking about great films like Chasing Amy and stuff like that, he's incredible. I love him. But he's also the best talker in Hollywood. Like, I could sit and watch some of my favorite specials, just the what are they called? Evening with Kevin Smith?
Yeah.
They're some of the best things to watch. Kevin Smith just standing on stage with a microphone telling stories.
Yep, we saw him live.
Great.
I saw him live.
He's amazing. I can watch that shit for hours. So anything that Kevin Smith pitches is going to sound great. Whether or not it would be great, a little bit more questionable. But Kevin Smith's just such a great communicator that he could pitch anything and I'll probably eat it up. So,
Yep.
All right, whatever. What's next?
Mark Nedau says, speaking about Saskatchewan, John, did you ever see Corner Gas?
Yes. Although it was long after the fact. And it wasn't much and then I was gone. But
What are you talking about? What is this?
It's a Canadian comedy show, kind of like in the vein of a Schitt's Creek or Kim's Convenience, Corner Gas, and it takes place in Saskatchewan, which was a big thing. But I didn't see all of it, unfortunately. It didn't make the impression on me that a Schitt's Creek or a Kim's Convenience did, but it was a really loved show by a lot of people. All right, what's next?
Station says, hello, John and crew. Been watching since AMC Movie Talk,
Thank
and I
you.
watch almost every day while at work. Thoughts on Henry Cavill as Hyperion?
It's a BS rumor. It's not going to happen.
Plus, are they going to the Squadron Supreme?
But listen, it's the thing of Henry Cavill is one of my favorite actors. He is a great performer. You put him in anything.
Yeah.
X actor and X role. I mean, he's a great actor, so you make him almost anything, and I'm going to be super happy. But I don't believe this Hyperion rumor first.
Because then you'd have to have the whole team be a problem.
I mean, no, you don't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I mean, I don't believe that rumor for a second. But I mean, hey, if it happened, great. But I don't believe it for a second. All right, what's next?
Groovy Movies says, what were some of the show names that didn't make the final two, John?
Everyone you ever heard. I mean, we read off hundreds of them during the show. I mean,
he wants, like,
everyone
runner-up,
that
third
you've ever
place.
heard did not make it onto the list. So yeah, many. Hey, listen, look, the name of this show, it's like talk about the title of movies. It's almost irrelevant. All it is a marketing thing. We just need a name so people know what our show is. That's it. We just need a title. Like the title we come up with, no one's going to go, "Oh my God, this changes everything." Nah, it's really not a big deal. It's just that instead of being known as the John Campea Show, it'll be known as blah 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 blah.
Watch of tomorrow.
The Watch of Tomorrow. Just blah blah
Watch,
blah
die,
blah.
repeat.
As long as people know
Watch,
that
die, repeat.
blah 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 is what this show is. That's all that matters. So like, I'm just gonna temper your expectations when we announce the new name of the network and the show. It ain't gonna blow anybody's socks off. It's just a name. It doesn't change anything. Everything else about the show is gonna be exactly the same. Everything else about the network is gonna be exactly the same. It's just gonna be a title. It's not gonna impress anybody. It's not gonna blow anybody's socks off. But I do like the two titles we've come down to, so we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
Dildar says, She-Hulk made me feel things I never thought I'd feel before Bring on the Filthy Indeed. Oh, that's one thing. There's no period there. Let me do that again. She-Hulk
Punctuation.
made me feel things I never thought I'd feel before. Bring on the Filthy Indeed.
What the?
I think
I
he's
don't
just
know what
attracted to a tall green woman.
I guess there wasn't anything particularly sexy about the episode.
When she does that yoga move that's in the trailers, you know?
That was fun. That was a funny scene, though. By the way,
It was,
It's in
but
the trailers. That was a funny
I could see why that would, you know.
All right, what's next?
There's no uncanny valley for Rob.
There's no uncanny valley.
That I won't yodel in. Cutter Hale says, Rob, like you, I'm a physical media collector, and I just pre-ordered the 4K steelbooks of Top Gun Maverick, Nope, and Bullet Train. I ordered one of those steelbooks. Guess which one?
Top Gun.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, those are all three good movies. I didn't love Nope. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
But
Bullet
those special
Train, again,
features.
didn't love, but it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And Top Gun Maverick is terrific. Can't wait to watch that.
I have to have it go with my steelbook of Top Gun. I couldn't have one that wasn't a steelbook.
All right, what's next?
Stephen J. says, I always thought a great show name would be The Bingle and Banter.
The binge
I
and
guess-
banter.
The binge.
Oh, the binge. Oh, why did I say bingle?
You saw an L there
Binge.
somewhere. Phantom
Yes.
L.
Bingle all the way.
I like bingle. I don't even know what that word means. The binge and banter. I like that. The binge and banter. I guess it's too late to suggest it now.
Hey, listen, if I was opening an Irish pub,
Yeah.
Yep.
Will
That's
you
what it
put
would
like
be called.
movies
The
up
bingle and
stuff like
banter.
that?
I like
the
that.
binge and banter. Yes, I would name it after that.
Maybe bingle's an Irish name.
Maybe.
Never heard the word before ever. I guess
All
it's
right,
not
what's
real.
next?
Jack Master Norrid says, Hey, John, what are the chances of you doing a screening of Rob's Star Wars movie in your theater?
Very low.
I don't know, man. You might get some fun
1,500
times with
ticket.
that.
Very low. No, I don't. Yeah.
You know, there is a version with no sex in it.
It's
No, for-
it's 40 seconds.
For
Is
real.
it called the Munsters?
Oh, it's
Captain
good.
Herman.
All right.
Mr. Herman.
What's next?
Dr.
Page
Stinky
Mr. Herman.
says, Dr. Stinky says, Hey, I just watched Prey and it was awesome. Now my second favorite movie of the year. First, Doctor Strange. All love. Bring on the filthy.
Listen, this movie Prey is way better than it has any business being.
Yep.
Like,
It's way cool.
I like I had decent hopes when I finally walked in because I had heard some early buzz and I heard it was quite good. So I'm like, all right. But like for the longest time, I'm like, why did they even make this movie? But I'll tell you what, Ann and I went in and watched that, and we were lucky enough that we actually got to see it at a press screening in a movie theater.
Yeah,
which was so great. And I just walked out and was like, what the hell? How did they do that? Like it was a really, it's not, well, you know what? No, it might be in my top 5 of the year right now.
Wow.
I don't know. Not my top 3, but that movie is way better than it had any business being.
I was hoping they had like shot, like, you know how they usually shoot things in like IMAX or something like that, but that I was hoping they did like some shots where there would be a reason to actually put it in the theater, because I would watch it again.
Well,
and I want to watch it in the theater.
In a way
it's
that
beautifully done.
I saw it in a theater.
Oh.
That movie looks great in a theater.
Yeah.
Looked fantastic.
I wish I'd seen it at theater.
It's just way better. Again, when Jesse the Body Ventura comes out
Yeah.
and starts gushing about the movie online, like you got something. And it was just really, really great to see. All right, what's next?
Connie Sang.
Hey, Connie!
Hello, Connie,
Connie.
birthday girl. Infinity Train is a pretty good animation series, and animation is not a medium I regularly watch. They were originally on Cartoon Network before it moved to HBO Max. Sucks to hear they're pulling it.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you who might be joining a little bit late, so we read down the list of the stuff that HBO was removing from the service, and I had said I hadn't heard any of these, and I had mentioned Infinity Train. So now we got a little bit of background. Is that the one you said?
Yeah. I said I was interested in watching it. What's sad is it took this story for me to read about this show, which is kind of sucks. Like, oh yeah, I found out too late. So I don't know, but I will watch it before it leaves HBO Max. I'll be on your HBO Max today, John. So just want to say.
All right, what's next?
Nikita Monahan. Nikita Mohanan says, have y'all seen the trailer for Call Jane? Thoughts? I loved it. Didn't hear anything about it. Overturning Roe v. Wade. Some are calling it woke. Call Jane. I have not seen that.
Not heard of it.
Is that, you know what? I did see that trailer. And
Do you have it on 4K?
I don't.
The trailer
I
on
don't have
4K
to,
Blu-ray?
I watched that the other day, and I kind of was half watching it, and that's what it had abortion in it. So Roe v. Wade, yeah, looks good. I'll watch that.
All right, what's next?
It's got a great cast. Mega Movie Z says it's so dumb that Zaslav erased Mac's original content. Doesn't this just promote piracy because the only legal way to watch it now is gone?
I love it when people who have no business success call people with all the business success stupid. Look,
That was from Bob Iger.
it's stuff.
Super chat.
It's stuff nobody was watching,
And it was costing them money.
and it was costing them money. So you're literally in a place. First of all, there is no audience to pirate it. But even if there was, HBO would do better financially if people were pirating it than having it on their service. It's business.
It's draining.
It was literally losing them money to have that sit on their server and have nobody watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I mean,
no.
that's like saying I provide a service. Let's say I clean pools, and I've got a customer that doesn't pay me, and so I stopped working for them. But won't someone else take that customer who doesn't pay them? Maybe.
But it's not actually costing me anything to lose that customer. I mean, that's pretty much it. All right, what's next?
Tracy Dale says, I liked She-Hulk, but wish they dropped 2 episodes.
Again, fully agree. I think it would have been really, not every show has to do that, but I think this is, especially with the fact that they have 9 instead of 6 episodes.
Yeah.
They had that flexibility. Doesn't ruin anything, but I agree. It would have been a smarter move for them to drop it with 2. Give us a better
agree.
idea about the show. All right, what's next?
Carlos Mondragon says, please do a Put It Up, Jonathan t-shirt.
I think he's
That's
talking
becoming
about-
a phrase
the
I need to say a lot.
thing.
Hey, bring it up, Jonathan. I mean, that's
I'd wear that.
You know what? I wasn't joking. I said on the show the other day that if I can ever afford it, I would love to add another staff position on the company. That's just of an artist.
Yep.
I would love to have an artist. That's just like every day their job is to not just create graphics that Ray can take and use and manipulate into his graphic design, but an artist to like, it feels like every day something gets brought up on the show that would make a great t-shirt or a great coffee mug or a great mouse pad. And like somebody just on the show, like when Chris said, what is it? Fuckity McGillicuddy or whatever the name of that character is. It's like, that's got to be a t-shirt. Like, I feel like every day on the show, there's something that's like, that's got to be a t-shirt. Like to have an artist on staff who is just their job to create art that, again, both Ray uses, but also we just get to make into merch. I would love that.
Oh, here we
If
go.
we ever
It's
can
the
get to
start
the
of
part
my-
that I can afford that, I would love to add that staff
The
position.
start of my unemployment here. He's dropping hints now.
No. You're a graphic designer. I'm talking about an illustrator.
I know.
Two different things.
What does Christian know that I
They would
don't?
actually be working. They would actually be working for you, Ray, because you'd be the head of that department.
Oh, okay.
So you'd be the boss. All right, what's next?
GC Nightwalker says 6 episodes mean an average of 45 minutes with credits. 9 means 35. John, I've done the math, and Daredevil will be 10 minutes 74 seconds long with credits.
Yeah, I have like a lot of when they announced and we got all excited that the Daredevil series would be an 18 episode series. A lot of people's like, okay, that's great. But what if it's like 22 minutes an episode? And that's a very, very good. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't either.
And that's the other thing about Disney Plus shows. It's like you load it up, say, oh, this one's 48 minutes. Okay. It's 8 minutes of credits. So that wasn't 48 minutes. But I don't think they're going to do that with Daredevil. I think legitimately the episodes will be like 45 minutes or longer, not including credits. I mean, I don't know that, but I'm that's what I'm choosing to believe.
I think it's a good bet.
All right, what's next?
Darth Grant says, all I will say is I dislike how WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, as well as Disney, after that Avatar story, are treating consumers.
Again, well, first of all, what's Warner Brothers Discovery doing?
Well,
That's bad?
removing all
Content
those.
that nobody watched. Yeah. That's the thing. The people are going to complain most about are people who've never watched a single
Except
one of
Connie.
those things.
Connie's upset.
Except Connie. Connie.
Infinity
that's-
Train, man.
That's the other thing too. It's like, if that's going to just hurt your company, if that's going to hurt your business, then that hurts your ability to create new content.
And can I clarify that many of these shows were still currently running, like doing new seasons? Is that where a lot of money was going?
It might be. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know if it was just. I don't know if it was just catalog content, whatever. But see, the other thing is too. Now there is an opportunity for those shows to get a new life on another streamer if WB can license them out. Maybe to a streaming service that more has a demographic that would be more inclined to watch them than them just sitting on WB where nobody was watching them. So yeah. All right. What's next?
The People's Champ 2007 says, who are the supervillains that She-Hulk fought? Not a spoiler because it shows up in the trailer.
Oh, Tatiana. Wait a second. No,
Just-
it's Titania or is it?
Titania.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
but you see her.
So Jamila's character. I don't know much about the character. I mean, I'm aware of her. I know the character, but I don't really know much about the character.
Originally
I never read any
introduced
issues
in
with her.
Secret Wars.
Yes.
And then obviously Abomination's coming.
Abomination's
But
coming.
I have a feeling Abomination might be a redemption arc. Just because of what happened in Shang-Chi.
Well, and the things we saw in the trailer, I mean, they're in Shang-Chi, he's like working with Wong. It's a grift. They're grifting. They're
Wong literally gets him out of prison to come and do these fights.
yeah, so they
And then
can
brings him
win
back.
money.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Make
got
that
some
money,
kind of
Wong.
grift going on.
I mean, maybe Wong gets busted for fixing fights.
What if the Sorcerer Supreme doesn't make as much cheddar as you think, right?
Well, yeah,
He's like, I gotta do these fights on this
we
side.
saw in what was it, Infinity War? We didn't have any money. You know,
the
he's
new
walking
Wong
on the.
King.
You know, can you go to the deli? Here's some
All right,
money.
what's next?
Andy says, if John does commentary on She-Hulk legal cases, that would make him our very own Legal Eagle. Love that dude a lot.
I started watching Legal Eagle a bit. He makes great content. So Legal Eagle is this, he's a lawyer who literally takes a lot of big issues that are going on and breaks it down for common laymen about this is what this means legally. I think it was Legal Eagle that I found out from, Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, he would have received a death penalty for like 5 different things that Maverick does in this movie. Like court-martial, death penalty. And it was actually pretty fun. But his is a great YouTube channel. I like his a lot. All right, what's next?
Wesley Nakona says, can y'all wish my best friend Joaquin a happy birthday? Also, have any of you played the new Warner Brothers game Multiverses?
No,
Yes,
fuck.
I have.
I have heard about this game. First of all, Joaquin, happy birthday to you,
Happy
buddy.
birthday.
Did you play it? What was
Yes.
it? Which characters did you play?
I only play the Iron Giant. The guy, the weight on him, but the things that he could do, you could juggle the guys in the air and multi-hit.
No, explain what multiverses is, because I read this.
If you guys ever played like a Super Smash Brothers, or
Yes.
just think of like even a Mario Party where there's a lot of people competing against each other, except you're just fighting on the stage, throwing people off the stage. It's one of those games. I'm never good at them, but I do try to play. I'm trying to play Iron Giant. I'm enjoying it.
It just went live like this week or something.
Yeah,
didn't it?
and it's free.
Didn't it break like a whole bunch of records too? Like for I heard that like the pre-sign up for the game like broke a whole bunch of records.
Yeah.
I haven't
Wow.
played it yet
Well,
myself.
good for them.
All right,
A lot
what's
of
next?
characters in
Hey.
that game.
Fernandum383 says, do you think we'll get World War Hulk in Phase 5?
No, I don't. I mean, the Universal issue is still not settled, all that kind of stuff. So that simply can't happen until that gets done, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
Safwat Newman says, after the end credits started rolling, I really liked the show. After the end credits scene, I really believe this show is going to be awesome.
Okay, by the way, the end credit, Miss Marvel kind of started doing this very stylized end credits kind of stuff. I love the way they did the credits in
Kind of like
the
No
first
Way
episode.
Home, too.
Yeah,
No Way Home did.
I love the way they did.
They
the
were
credits.
great.
But the post-credit scene is really funny.
Oh, my God.
The way it ends is like, it's like, yeah, that's my
I
girl.
laughed. So Elizabeth laughed out loud, too.
Yeah, so did we.
It's
All
really
right,
good.
what's next?
Suhab Kasim says, I just rewatched Mission Impossible 3 and forgot how raw and tense it is. Kind of makes the newer ones, MI4 through 6, look more sanitized and spectacle driven in comparison.
What do you think?
I think I missed one of his super chats because there was two.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I think there was two. Yeah, there's one. But I'll tell you what I think. I tend to look, Mission Impossible 3 to me always felt like a TV movie.
Was that the J.J. Abrams one?
Yeah, Philip
Right,
Seymour
right,
Hoffman.
yeah.
There's some cool stuff in it, but it is pretty raw because people are threatened. I would agree with that, but I don't love that movie.
Tell you what, it's the first one I really liked.
Yeah.
Because I didn't mind the first Mission Impossible. I did not like the second one. And so when they came out with Mission Impossible 3, it was the first one that I was like, yeah, I dug it. It's not in my top 2 or 3 Mission Impossible movies now because obviously that was a franchise. This is a franchise that just seems to get better and better.
Yep.
But I remember at the time it was the first one that kind of really got me on board with the franchise.
Yep.
But you're right, it doesn't stand up to the new ones though.
Right. But the new ones do have that spectacle. I can see what he's saying.
Yeah, I agree.
think 3 was the initial like tone shift, but then 4 onward is like you could go from 4 onward for that story arc.
Yeah.
Yep. All right,
I haven't
what's
seen
next?
any of them.
So you said we skipped, but we did this.
Oh, we didn't. Okay.
And we did this one. The end credits started rolling.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So
Marina. I love that name for many reasons. What are your expectations for Mickey 7, the next Bong Joon-ho sci-fi movie starring Robert Pattinson? This will be his first movie after Parasite. It's based on a science fiction novel.
Yeah, we talked about it when they announced this on the show. Look, I don't have a lot of expectations other than the fact that you got a great actor with a great filmmaker.
Intriguing premise, too, even though we've seen
Very
elements of it, but intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, when you read the synopsis of what the story is, I mean, there's a lot of very cool mind warp, mind effing kind of that could be going on. But
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at Parasite and you look at what was the monster film he did like 15 years ago?
The
The
Host.
The Host, yeah, The Host and stuff like that.
I
Like,
love that movie.
he's a filmmaker who can do a lot of different types of things and it can tell a lot of different types of stories. So you put in an actor with the caliber of Robert Pattinson,
Yeah.
it could be something really
Weta
special.
did the creature effects for Host. Really good.
All right, what's next?
Eric Benson says, thanks for the membership, tumbling tornado.
Oh, I guess he was one of the beneficiaries of that big membership gifting. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for that, man. All right, what's next?
Vixter 5001 said 4K and physical media always for things I love the most. I would agree
Listen,
with that.
I get it. I do. I get it. There are advantages to physical media that will never go away.
Do you
even
know-
when physical media goes away?
What I got on 4K Steelbook
Everything.
when I went home yesterday?
Everything.
Red Dawn.
Oh, that you were telling me
The
about that
original
yesterday.
Red Dawn.
Yeah. Don't not to be confused with the
remake,
Chris
yeah.
Hemsworth one, but
Yep.
the original
I
one.
picked it up at Best Buy, and I'd never been to the San Bernardino Best
When you
Buy.
get them, do you just thrown behind you in your car and there's just a big pile and you're like, I'll watch it.
No, but when I was moving, Erin Cummings saw my car. Literally, you opened up the trunk and there were
And it
hundreds of
starts
discs.
sliding out?
She took a picture and gave me a bunch of
crazy,
crap for
Rob.
it.
All right, what's next?
Blake62 says, long term, do you think the pandemic actually helped theaters by showing people what they were missing? I know I missed it. Thanks.
No. Even the long term, and look, I'm a look for the silver lining kind of guy, but no, there is in no way anything except this was a shit deal for movie theaters, man.
Yeah.
And there, by the way, when you look at reports coming out of Cineworld and Regal, the theaters are still dealing with the repercussions of it, and it's still hurting.
And this month is not doing well for them because
There's no content.
That's what I mean.
Which
It's
again,
not good.
That has partially to do with the fact that the production pipeline got interrupted for a long time, for years in some cases. And so and by the way, this isn't going to be the last kind of desert period of time we get with not a lot of big movies coming out. There's going to be one or two more. And so yeah, theaters are still dealing with the repercussions.
It's true.
All right, what's next?
Ninja Fart Monkey. One of two. How She-Hulk could use Deadpool without using him. Jennifer walks into Kevin Feige's office and we hear Reynolds on the speakerphone saying, okay, I'm not hearing a lot of love for the double NC-17 rating. And then Feige says, Wade, I have to go.
I mean, Chris Carr brought up a really good idea. She said, you literally could have just like from the neck down, you could have him walk or somebody in a Deadpool costume literally just walk across the suit. You don't even have to have Ryan Reynolds in the suit. You don't have to have his voice in it. That's a pretty good
I like that
idea, though, that you just came up with. Is say, so I'm not here to love for the NC-17. I got to go. I like that. I think that works really well.
I like it too. I think it's
and you
good.
don't even have to get Ryan Reynolds' schedule to work. He's just got to call in and record a voice message, and away he goes.
And you know what? You know everything's better with ninjas, and I think there should be a Ninja Fart Monkey animated series.
I think someone's already writing the script.
Probably.
All right, what's next?
Faisal says, does She-Hulk deserve the review bombing?
No show, even my most hated shows of all time, deserve review bombing before anybody's even seen it. Like, that's why, like, I refer to the people review bombing as the penisless virgin brigade. And, you know, somebody said to me,
Well, if you don't have a penis, you
shouldn't
not
be
be a
labeling
virgin.
people just because they don't like a show. It's like, I'm not. I'm labeling people who decided to review bomb something they've never even seen. Because that's pathetic.
Well, it's also
like, that is then somebody said to me, well, then how come you're not talking against people who went in and put in the 10s? Well, because they just felt the need to do that to counter what these bottom feeders were doing. On top of that, I always say fan review ratings online are useless, whether they're pro or good or bad. They're all useless. The only audience rating that matters at all is the Rotten Tomatoes audience rating for movies, not for TV shows, because for movies, they can actually verify if somebody saw the movie or not. With TV, they can't do that for TV. They can't verify somebody watched it. And that's why IMDb ratings are useless, pro or con. That's why Rotten Tomatoes audience ratings for television shows are useless, pro or con. It's all useless. You shouldn't pay any attention to them, good or bad.
Also, you know, it just, for me, it's so hard to make something that's good. And when we get something of a certain level of quality, which She-Hulk is, all the people that worked hard to produce that show deserve better. And I think the idea of review bombing is a disrespectful practice anyway, which what we need more of is respect across the board for everything and everyone.
Look, you watch a show and you didn't like it, and you jump online and say, hey, I watched a show. I did not think it was good. I thought it was a bad show. Nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly good. But this whole pathetic cretin practice of, well, this has got a girl in it, and no girl has ever let me touch their boobie, so I don't like it. Like, it's so sad and pathetic and weak that it's just, anyway. All right, what's next?
Stevens, C20, so one of two. Hey, John, you probably don't remember my username, but I've been a viewer of the show since AMC.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to thank you for being a huge part of how I came to love movies. Not to be dramatic... There it is. But Man of Steel changed my life the moment I saw it when I was 13. After the movie, I watched your review on it, and the rest was history. Thank you for helping me fall in love with the movies.
Here's the thing, Steve. First of all, thank you so much for that. And I appreciate that so much. Art can change your life.
Indeed.
Some of the great figures in history have talked about their pivotal moments came when I looked at this piece of art, or they heard that piece of music, or whatever. Movies as art, they tap into something in us that can make us dream, make us question, make us evaluate, make us inspired. Listen, it is not a silly thing to say art moved me. And when we are moved, it can change the direction of our lives. And that's not like, well, John, you're saying if I watch, what's a fucking show, South Park, it's going to change my life? Well, not necessarily, but I'm saying art can. That's what art does. Whether it's a minor little thing that maybe just gave you a bit better of a day, maybe it's a little bit more of a significant thing that it inspired a piece of insight in your mind that helped you make an important decision in your life at the time. Art is amazing. And it has that power to do it. And I think that's amazing that did that. And so thank you for sharing that experience, man. I really appreciate
I love hearing that too. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Can we go?
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
go ahead. I don't mind.
No,
One of the fucking two of you speak.
Stop saying go ahead. I'm the technical director, and the camera's on you, so you
I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to see if we could trace that IP back from that last super chat.
You go trace the
Does it go
IP.
back to
I'm
John
moving on.
Campea?
John Campea writes. All right, what's next?
Dr. Stinky says also, Dr. Squanch Batman balls.
Just squanch Batman balls?
I don't know what that
Is that
is.
is that like a town in Canada? I'm not sure.
I
what-
have no idea.
There's Dr. Squatch, the
No.
soap.
All right, what's next? Let's move
How we
on.
want
My Comic Planet says, happy 86th birthday to Robert Redford,
Wow.
a.k.a. Alexander Pierce. For the record, I still think The Natural is my favorite Robert Redford film.
Sneakers is still mine.
See, both of those are
Sneakers.
And
great.
in a world where Sundance, exists.
What about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance
That's what I
Kid?
said. In a world where Sundance exists, I know that sounds weird, but Sneakers is still my favorite movie of his. It's so good. And Sir Ben's in that one.
Sir Ben.
James Earl Jones, Dan Aykroyd.
It's a great cat. River Phoenix.
River Phoenix. I mean, it's an incredible cat, but it's such a good movie.
So good.
I love it so much.
It's a great movie.
But he's got a closet full of
3 Days of the Condor, The Electric Horseman.
All right, what's next?
Alex Collins says, finally had those mozzarella sticks with sour cream and oh my God, amazing.
I'm telling you.
Love what you guys do.
I'm telling you, the truth will set you free, my brothers and sisters. And the truth lies in a gooey stick, mozzarella stick, and a good little side of sour cream. I'm telling you, it's an orgasm in your mouth. Don't deprive yourselves of this joy any longer. Get out to Applebee's or whatever local restaurants will serve it. You go and enjoy that. Rub it on your testicles.
No.
Do all the stuff.
Wait
that
a
you
minute.
do.
No.
Give
Wait,
yourself
whoa.
joy.
Are those Manscaped testicles?
That's
better
why they're
be.
so smooth.
If the waitress slaps you after you say mozzarella and sour cream, don't blame.
I'm telling you, it's the way to go. It's glorious.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Boy,
Might
this
slap
almost
you
went
after
off the
doing
rails.
what
The
John
show, we
suggested.
got to pull it back. Joseph Bertoni says, I'm in Asia, so a VPN has been a must. The other day you said Disney Plus and Hulu are #1 in some countries. I got an idea. Let's just say I'm excited to watch Prey. And if you have a VPN, London is great.
I mean, listen, it's no secret. A lot of people like VPNs are great just for privacy, security, all that
Sure.
kind of stuff. But let's call it what it is. A lot of people use VPNs so they can tell a streaming service that they're in a country they're not really in.
Of course.
So they can watch certain content. I am not advocating such a practice, but it's what a lot of people do, and it's a very creative use of it. That's all I'm saying.
And if they're not going to make it commercially available in your own country,
Like that part does. Like I remember when Mandalorian came out,
Oh yeah.
right? When Disney Plus launched,
That was
don't blame Disney Plus that Disney Plus wasn't in every country yet. They were trying. They
Sure.
were rolling out as fast as they could. But whereas what is now Paramount Plus, at the time when Star Trek Discovery was coming out,
yeah.
it's like, well, what was it called at the time? CBS All Access.
CBS All Access.
which is now Paramount Plus. But when CBS All Access was not available everywhere, what they did was, well, for all those countries that we don't have CBS All Access, we are going to license out Discovery. So in a lot of countries that had Netflix, say, you could watch Discovery on Netflix because they licensed it out. And Disney didn't do that with Mandalorian. So a lot of fans around the world had to keep hearing about how this great show is out there. And they're like, what's that Futurama meme where it's like, just shut up and take my money. There are people all over the world saying, no, I want to pay for it. I want to pay for the content and I want to watch it, but they gave them no legal avenue to do so. And that's risking a lot of stuff. You can't, I don't know that if you're a service, you can complain a lot about piracy when you literally don't give the consumers a legitimate way to acquire your content. When they're there saying that we want to pay for it, we want to watch it legitimately, give us a way to do it. Nah.
Everyone's talking about Mandalorian, and also you just have to torture yourself by not being able to see it. That must have been hell for them. I mean,
exactly.
Not only did Mandalorian not appear in their country, but everyone was talking about it.
Talking about
what do you do?
Great the Mandalorian said, great, man. I have no way to watch it.
You either go to the high seas, you get a VPN.
All right, what's next?
What? Steven C20 says, P.S. If Henry Cavill ever returns for a Superman movie, the joy I'd have would be so immense that I'll even send a $50 super chat simply because I just don't think it'll ever happen. I've given up.
I grow more and more pessimistic by the day.
Yeah.
But you guys know how I feel about it. I want Cavill back as Superman.
Hope springs
I mean, if they don't, that's fine. And I'm sure if they recast Superman, I'm sure they'll get another great performer to play. Listen, I loved Brandon Routh as Superman. Then they cast Henry Cavill, who ended up being my favorite Superman of all time. I mean, so I'm sure if they have to recast it again, I'm sure, again, they'll do a great job with it. But I really want Henry Cavill back as Superman. All right, what's next?
Well, Attack of the Mushi says Rogue One IMAX tickets secured.
Oh, I got to get mine. I'm definitely going to go watch that again because this is probably going to be the last chance I'll get to see Rogue One on the big screen again.
I know.
So I think that is a great move on their part. Probably why they pulled it off Disney Plus. No, I don't think they actually did pull it off Disney Plus, but I mean, I am very much looking forward to seeing this on the big screen again.
Agreed.
I'm not, because my last experience of watching it was perfect. It was with your parents at the
that's
Cinemark.
where we watch it in Canada.
So that's where I'll leave my memories of Rogue One. I watched it with his parents, but unfortunately that day too, Carrie Fisher passed away.
That was the
We
same
got
day.
all the texts.
Wow.
As soon as the movie ended, everyone was on their phone, and everyone was
we walked out of the
sad about
theater, and we walked out of watching Rogue One. Literally just saw Carrie Fisher, at least an image of Carrie Fisher in the movie. Came out, opened our phone, she had passed away.
And that was the $18 day too.
That was the $18. Yeah, that was the same day as that. Same day as that with my dad. All right, what's next?
The next is East Village sent in a super chat.
Oh, well, thank you for that, East Village. And guys, we ran long today, but there were a lot of topics to cover. But that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget, guys, at 3 p.m. today, so about 2 hours from now, we have our She-Hulk after show open spoiler discussion about She-Hulk episode 1. If you got thoughts, opinions, questions, theories, speculation, whatever you want to talk about, come on and join Rob and I as we discuss episode 1 of She-Hulk. And of course, guys, make sure you come on back and join us tomorrow for the next episode of the John Campea Show. By the way, guys, we've got another show on the network that we are the distributor for, really, more than anything else. You want to know more about the ins and outs of the actual making of the movies. How do these images, these looks that you see on the big screen actually come to life? There's a great show called Designing Hollywood. And we've got a new episode up right now. Rob, who's on the new episode right now?
Two-time Academy Award winner Mark Bridges is on that. He worked with Paul Thomas Anderson. He just finished Meet the Fabelmans, the new Spielberg film. There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood. He did that. All of P.T. Anderson's films. He's a really interesting guy. I had fun doing that interview. And he also has the new Leonard Bernstein film coming out. So he's a real talent.
So guys, go check that out. And new episodes come out every week with an incredible roster of incredible Hollywood talent that design the looks of these movies we see. So make sure you go and check out the new episode of Designing Hollywood. All right, guys, for everybody in the room, one, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, Ray Ora, of course, the guy running the show, Jonathan Voico, and myself, John Campea. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.